and welcome to CGTN special coverage of China's annual political session, the Two Sessions. I'm Wang Wentao. The National People's Congress is about to hold a news conference on economic topics. Authorities from relevant departments will also take questions related to China's development and reform, fiscal budget, commerce, and finance. Let's go live to the scene and listen in. And this is part of the ongoing political season here in China. The National People's Congress opened yesterday in Beijing. And as we are watching live signal from the venue of that press conference, we'll be listening to ministers from relevant departments taking questions from media home and abroad to address China's economic issues.
中外记者朋友们，
Friends
大
from
家
the
下午好。
media, good afternoon.
欢迎大家参加14届全国人大四次
To
会议
the press
记者会。
conference for the fourth session of the 14th National People's
经济主
Congress.
题。
The theme of the press
大会新
conference
闻中
today
心
is
很高兴邀
economy.
请到5位嘉
We
宾
have
出席
invited
记者
5
会
ministers to
分
come
别
to the
是
press conference
国家发展和改革委
and
员
answer
会
your
主任、
questions. They are
郑三杰先生、
Mr. Zheng Shanjie, Chairman of the National Development Reform Commission,
财政部部长蓝佛安先生、
Mr. Lan Fo'an, Minister of Finance,
商务部部长王文涛先
Mr.
生、
Wang Wentao, Minister of Commerce,
中国人民银行行长潘功胜先生、
Mr. Pan Gongsheng, Governor of the People's Bank
中
of
国
China,
证券监督管理委员会主席吴清先生。
Mr. Wu Qing, Chairman of China Securities Regulatory Commission.
现
Thank
在
you.
请大家直接开始提问。
Now the floor is
Thank you.
open for
The floor
questions.
is now open for questions.
请北区第一排第3位女士，谢谢。
谢谢主持人。RT 金是俄罗斯记者提问，我想问郑主任，政府工作报告总结了去年的发展成就，明确了中国今年宏观经济的预期增长目标为4.5%至5%，并在实际工作中努力争取更好结果。请问中国怎么来实现这一预期增长目标？谢谢。
With RT, the government work report reviews the achievements last year and projects GDP growth at 4.5 to 5% while striving for better in practice. How will China do to make sure this target is met? Thank you.
谢谢您的提问。
Thank you for the question. I also want to thank friends from the media for the care and support you have given for work related to development and reform. The Central Economic Work Conference and the Government Work Report have both provided a comprehensive summary of China's development achievements in the past year. The growth target that you asked about is something that people are also following very closely. And this time we have set a range target. It is set by the CPC Central Committee and the State Council based on systemic assessment, scientific validation, and balanced consideration, and also with prudence. I should say that the target is underpinned by a solid foundation, which can be reflected in at least 3 aspects. That is aggregate volume, innovation capability, and risk resilience. First, China's economic aggregate has crossed the 140 trillion yuan mark last year. The 14th five-year plan came to a successful completion. And produced a performance sheet exceeding expectations of all sides. Second, China has made significant innovation achievements and major breakthroughs, which is for everyone to see. And this demonstrates China's development is underpinned by stronger dynamism. And these innovation results have also brought real benefits to people's lives. Third, China's institutional strength have been fully leveraged, which has enabled us to cope with risks and challenges from all directions with determination and flexibility, and also to good effect. These strengths, including the supersized economy, vibrant innovation and breakthroughs, as well as institutional, structural, and other strengths, give us confidence to navigate through risks from all directions and market turbulence, and also accomplish the preset targets. That said, we are soberly aware that we still face many difficulties and problems in the course of economic and social development. A good start is crucial for the implementation of the whole plan. So to achieve the set target, it is important to faithfully implement the decisions of the Central Economic Work Conference and also the steps laid out in the government work report, particularly in the following 4 areas. First, stepping up efforts to make macroeconomic governance more effective. We will continue to pursue progress while ensuring stability and improve both the quality and performance of growth. We will both ensure intensity of policy implementation and improve policy coordination. So by ensuring the intensity of policy implementation, it means we will continue to pursue a more proactive macroeconomic policy and enhance counter and cross-cyclical adjustments. By improving policy coordination, it means we will boost the synergy between adopted policies and new ones, as well as the compounding effect of macro policies and reform measures, strengthen the alignment of fiscal, monetary, industrial, investment, employment, consumption, price, and regional policies, and ensure better policy coordination. If everything goes well, it is expected that China's GDP increment will surpass 6 trillion yuan, which is equivalent to the annual GDP of a medium-sized developed country, and that will also provide effective underpinning for us to stabilize growth, secure jobs, and cope with risks. Market economy fundamentally is an economy under the rule of law, so we need to better regulate or mark the boundaries of the market and the government through sound legal systems. Second, we will step up efforts to build a robust domestic market. As you know, China is now already the biggest consumer market in the world. So we will give priority to consumption and investment in building our domestic market. On consumption, we will continue to carry out large-scale equipment upgrades and consumer goods trading programs, advance special initiatives to boost consumption, and roll up new measures such as new initiatives for creating more stable, better quality job opportunities and enhancing the capacity and the quality of the service sector. We will also make available more policies and funds to better unleash consumption potential and meet people's needs. On investment, we will continue to invest in both physical assets and people. And on investment in entity, we will further increase government investment, invigorate private investment, and encourage SOEs and private enterprises to both play their part. On investment direction, we will promote implementation of the 109 major projects and programs under the 15th Five-Year Plan, and launch a group of initiatives to boost effective investment. So at least we are going to construct 6 major networks and also advance relevant projects in priority sectors so as to create a better production and living environment. So these networks include electricity network, pipeline, municipal pipeline network, computing power network, and the logistics networks. We also have major projects in low-altitude economy, AI+, medical services, and other infrastructure and public benefit projects. So it is estimated that the total investment in these areas for this year will exceed 7 trillion yuan. Thirdly, we will step up efforts to strengthen the modern industrial system. We will promote deep integration of scientific innovation and industrial innovation and of advanced manufacturing and the modern service industries to accelerate the renewal of old drivers and the growth of new drivers. On the one hand, we will optimize and boost the foundation. On the other hand, we will cultivate and strengthen new pillars. So on optimizing and boosting the foundation, we will upgrade quality, lower cost, and reduce carbon emissions in key industries. And we will earmark 200 billion yuan of ultra-long special treasury bonds to support equipment renewal, to expand the size and also raise the quality of our manufacturing sector. And after the 2 sessions, we're going to hold a national conference of service industries. We will work with Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of Industry and Information Technology to launch new initiatives to further tap into the potential of the service sector. It is estimated that during the 15th five-year period, the service sector's size will exceed 100 trillion yuan. On strengthening new pillars, we will launch industrial innovation projects and increase support for emerging industries and industries of the future. And the Beidou navigation system is one prime example. And the navigation system in our mobile phone and emergency rescue, ocean exploration, all these services are supported by the Beidou navigation system. So we're going to increase the size of Beidou-related industries to over 1 trillion yuan in the next 5 years. We're also going to advance the AI Plus initiative to empower different industries, and relevant industries the size of relevant industries will surpass 10 trillion yuan in the next 5 years. Last year, we have set up a National Venture Capital Guidance Fund, and this year we are going to work with relevant departments to set up a national M&A guidance fund, and also to smoothen the channel for exit of relevant companies. And all these funds will unlock over 1 trillion yuan of additional funds in relevant sectors. Fourth, we will step up efforts to remove the bottlenecks and obstacles impeding economic and social development. We will deepen reform, strengthen the legal system, and make visible reductions in 3 aspects. First, reducing the number of barriers. Second, reducing the number of unreasonable restrictions. And the third, reducing the number of problems through a coordinated and integrated approach. Thank you.
跟大家继续提问。请中区第2排第2位女士，谢谢。
谢谢主持人。总台央视记者提问，我的问题提给蓝部长。蓝部长您好，政府工作报告对继续实施更加积极的财政政策做了部署。请问2026年更加积极的财政政策体现在哪些方面？谢谢。
With China Central Television, my question is for Minister Lan. According to the government work report, China will continue to implement a more proactive fiscal policy. In 2026, in what aspects will this be reflected? Thank you.
谢谢你的提问。
Thank you for your
借
question.
此机会啊，
I wish to take this
感谢媒
opportunity
体朋友
to thank our
长期以
friends
来
from the
对
press
财政
for
工
your
作
long-standing
关
care
心和
to
支持。
and support to our work.
这些年呢，按照
Over the
党
years,
中央的决策部
Following
署，
the decisions and
财政政策
instructions
始
of the
终坚
CPC
持
Central Committee,
积极
we
的
have
取
kept
向。
adopting a
去
proactive
年我们
fiscal
首次
policy.
实施更加
Last
积
year,
极
for the
的
first
财
time,
政
we
政策，
implemented a more
宏
proactive
观
fiscal
调控
policy
进一步加力。
and redoubled efforts
今年
to improve
继续
micro-regulation.
坚持更
This
加
year,
积
we
极的
continue to
基调
pursue a more
在
proactive
去年
fiscal
总量
policy.
扩张的
Building on last
基础
year's
上
expansion of fiscal
保持力度
spending,
不减。
we will maintain that level of
这一安
intensity.
排充分考虑
This
了当前
arrangement is made
国内外
after
的
taking
形
into
势
consideration
深刻复杂
the
的
profound
变
and
化，
complex changes
也兼顾了
in
逆周
domestic and
期
international
和跨
situation
周期
and
调节
accommodating the
的需要，
needs of counter and
既能有效
cross-cyclical
地对
adjustments.
冲
It
短
will
期的波动，
cushion short-term
推动
fluctuation,
经济运行啊在
keep the
合理
economy
的
running
区
within
间，
an appropriate
又能促
range,
进结构
and also
继续
promote
优化，
sustained structural
增强
improvement
经
and
济发
enhance
展
the resilience of the
韧性，
economy,
为十五开好及七好部啊
providing
提
a
供
solid
坚实的
foundation
支撑。
for the 15th five-year plan
那
getting
么
off to a
怎
good
么理
start.
解今年更
So
加
how
积
should
极
we
的财政
understand
政策呢？
this year's more
概括起来
proactive fiscal policy?
就是
To sum up,
既体现在
it
资
is
金的
reflected in the scale of
规模上
funds
政策力度
where policy
给
support will be strong. It is also reflected
强化政
in
策的
stronger
协同效
policy synergy
效应进一步
so that the effects
放大。
will be amplified.
在资金规模上，
In terms of scale of
3 个
funds,
方面，
this year
创了
we reach new high
新高。
in 3 aspects.
一是支出总
First,
量
we reach new
创
high
新高，
in fiscal spending.
首次超过
It surpassed
30万亿。
30 trillion yuan for the first
今
time.
年赤字率继续按
The
4%
deficit to
左右
GDP
安排
ratio for this year is again
赤字
set
规
at
模
around
达到
4%, and the government
5.89
deficit
万亿元。
is set at 5.89 trillion yuan. Together with fiscal revenue and fiscal funds at hand, expenditure in the general public
迈上
budget will reach
30万
30
亿
trillion
元
yuan
的新台
threshold
阶。
for the first time.
二是新增
Second,
政府债
we
券
reach
规
new
模
high
创新
in
高，
newly issued government
更大力
bonds,
度
which
扩
will
内
better
需
expand
稳增长
domestic demand,
促转
stabilize
型
growth, and promote transition.
新增地方政府专项债
This year,
券4.4万亿元，
4.4 trillion yuan of local government special purpose bonds will be issued. 1.3 trillion yuan of ultra-long special treasury bonds will be issued to support implementing major national strategies, enhancing security capacity in areas, and carrying out large-scale equipment upgrades and consumer goods trading programs. 300 billion yuan of special treasury bonds will be issued to enable large state-owned commercial banks to replenish their common equity tier 1 capital. Together with the bonds to make up the deficit, the newly issued government bonds this year will reach 11.89 trillion yuan, which is the highest in recent years. Third, we reach new high in central government's transfer payments to local governments,
中央
which
对
will
地
further
方转移支
strengthen
付的总
the
量
local
达
government's
到
capacity of fiscal guarantee.
10.42万亿元，
The amount of
连续4年
transfer
超过
payment
10
reached 10.42 trillion yuan this year,
均衡性转移支付
surpassing 10
县级基本财
trillion
力保
yuan
障
threshold
机
for
制
the
奖
fourth
资
year
金
running.
2项财
Among
力性
them,
转移支付
2
增加
fiscal transfer
1100
payments,
亿
including transfer payments for
这些资
equalizing
金实打
access
实
to
给到
basic
地
public
方，
services and rewards and
让
subsidies
各
to
地有
ensure
更多
basic
的财
funding
力
for
都
county
牢
level
骚地
government increase
改善民生，发展经济。
110 billion yuan.
今年
All
更
these
加积极的
funds
财
will be
政
wholly
政策
transferred to local
一个
governments
突
so
出的
that they
亮
will
点
have better funds
是
to
政策协
ensure
同效
public
应强，
needs are met,
重
salaries are
点体
paid,
现在3个方面
government： functions normally,
一是
improve livelihood and
财政
develop
与金
economy.
融等
This
宏
year,
观政策协同。
a highlight
今
is
年
strong
创新设立
policy
了财政
alignment.
金融协同
First,
促内需的
the
政策工具。
synergy between fiscal and
就是
financial
抓住
macro
基
policies.
于
This
消
year, we
费、
create a fiscal
民间
financial
投资
coordination
2个关键。
policy tool to facilitate
设计
domestic
出一
demand
套机制，
expansion. We
发
will
挥
focus
财
on the
政、
2 key areas
金
of
融、
consumption and
产
private
业
investment
等
and
多个
design a
政策各
mechanism
自
to
的优势
leverage the
有
strength
机
of
结合
fiscal, financial, and
协调联
industrial
动
policies
带动
in an
金融
integrated and
合适
coordinated
和
way
大
to
规模
stimulate
社会资
finance
金
and
流向消
large-scale
费
social
和
capital
实体经
and
济，
mobilize them
进一步
to
放大财
consumption
政
and
资
real
金
economy
乘数效
to
应。
further expand the
二是
multiplied
改革
effects
创
of
新
fiscal funds.
以政策支
Second,
持协同，
the
用改
synergy
革的
between
办法
reform,
提
innovation,
升
and policy
政策的
support.
精准度
We will
和有
reform
效性，
to improve
以
the
理由
accuracy and effectiveness
探
of
索开
policies.
展
For
转移支
example,
付，整合
trials
统
will be
筹使
conducted
用
to
市场，
promote more integrated
让
and
转移支
coordinated
付资
use
金
of transfer
更好
payments,
适配
and this
地
will
方的实
make
际需求，
these payments better
增强
fit
地方的自主财
the
力
local
和统筹能力。
government's needs
再
and
比如，
place
我
more
们
fiscal
进一步
resources
优
at the
化
at
债务结构，
disposal of local
完
governments
善
and enhance
专
their
项债券的
capacity of
自主自
coordination.
发试点，
Another example is
用
that
好
we will
宝贵的
improve the
债务空间。
structure of government debts,
三是各
fine-tune
项支出安
trials
排
to enable
相
the
互协
prompt
同，
issuance of special purpose
下大力气
bonds
优
upon
化支
provincial
出
level
结
review
构，
and
有
approval
保有压。
to make good use of the
一
debt.
方面，我们精
Third,
打细算，
alignment
严格落实党政机
between
关
different
习
spending
惯过紧日
arrangements.
子的要求。
We will make
另一方面，
efforts to
把更多的
optimize
资
the
资
spending,
金
spend in some areas and
用
cut in
在高
others.
质量
We
发
will
展
run on a
重
tight
点领
budget
域
and keep our
和关键方
belts
面。
tightened. On the other
今年
hand,
我
we
们
will
全
spend
国
more
科
funds
学技术
in
支
key
出安
areas
排
and
近
key links
1.3万亿元，
for high-quality development. For example, this year, the spending
教育、
for
社会
science
保
and
障和就
technology
业、
will
卫生
be
健康、
1.3 trillion yuan, up by
住房保障4项
7.1%,
支出
and spending
合计
for
超过
education, social
12.4
security,
万亿
and
元。
employment, health,
财政既全
and
力支持
housing
国家的
reached
各项
about
事业
over
蓬勃发展，
12.4 trillion
也
yuan.
努力保障每个小家庭
Government
的生
spending
活。
will support
蒸蒸
the
日上。
development causes of the
总
country
的看，今年
and
更加
also
积极的
the livelihood of every
量
household.
迈上新的
Overall, The more proactive fiscal policy this year has seen the quantity reaching new heights and quality making new improvements with greater efficiency and quality. We will follow and act on the instructions of the government work report and act on them one by one to ensure the early implementation of the policies and their better effects. Thank you.
大家继续提问。请南区第3排第3位男士举手的这位是。
谢谢主持人。人民日报记者提问，这个问题想请问商务部王部长。我们注意到“十四五”时期，消费新模式、新场景不断融合创新，涌现出很多新热点、新风尚。请问新的一年，商务部将如何持续激发消费潜力，推动消费提质扩容？谢谢。
With People's Daily, my question is for Minister Wang. We noticed that during the 14th five-year plan period, the integration and innovation of many new models and new scenarios of consumption have given rise to many new trends and new styles. So in the new year, how will the Ministry of Commerce continuously unleash the potential for consumption and upgrade and expand consumption? Thank you.
好，这个谢谢你的提问。
Thank you.
我先讲一讲呢，15时期 我国消费市场发生的一些变化。
In China's consumer market during the 14th five-year plan period, in terms of scale, China's consumer market stands as the second largest in the world. The retail sales has surpassed 40 trillion and 50 trillion yuan thresholds. As Chairman Zheng said, we ranked first in terms of consumption. When measured by PPP, parity purchase power, we are also the largest in the world. In terms of structure, during the 14th five-year plan period, China's per capita GDP has grown from $10,000 to over $13,000, and there have been some new trends in consumption. The traditional goods consumption has shifted from shortage to green and low-carbon ones. For example, the penetration rate of new energy vehicles has increased from 5.7% in 2020 to 53.9% in 2025. In terms of service consumption, in particular experimental consumption, has seen a strong growth. People like to spend money on experimental consumption and pay for their interests, hobbies, and physical and mental health. From 2022 to 2025, the growth of retail sales of services was 10.4% annually. If you look at the Spring Festival holiday that has just passed, people will feel that the Spring Festival vibe is strong. Places are crowded, high-tech is popular, and market is booming. There are three highlights. First, offline consumption is thriving, driven by the consumer goods trading programs and the Spring Festival shopping campaigns. The offline consumption in physical stores during the Spring Festival outpaced the online sales. This is the first time in recent years. The average daily sales of major retailers and catering companies grew by 5.7% from last year. This is according to the big data. And growth of retails in physical stores outpaced online sales by 3.9%. Second, traveling is now a new way to spend the Spring Festival. Many people used to visit relatives and friends during the Spring Festival travel, but this year, not a few people went back to their hometown and then made a getaway. During the Spring Festival, 596 million trips were made, and the spending reached 803.43 billion yuan. They were both new highs. And third, a boom on high-tech consumption is emerging. For example, some smart glasses, smart products, AI is reaching the general public. Robots take to the stage, make their ways to the shopping malls, and join in the temple fairs, and drones put on light shows. All these highlights speak to the strong vitality of China's consumer market. The Central Economic Work Conference and the Government Work Report has taken boosting domestic demand as a priority. The Commerce Ministry will continue making efforts to improve livelihood and boosting consumption, launch policies and carry out activities, and make efforts to implement the special campaign on boosting consumption to stimulate consumption and expand domestic demand. There are three aspects. First, on goods consumption, we will continue the consumer goods trading programs with 250 billion yuan special funds as outlined in the government work report. Till now, the sales of the trading programs have surpassed 4.16 trillion yuan, benefiting 131 million people. We will continue to optimize the mechanism from the version 1.0 to 2.0. Our support will be focused on two areas. First is green and smart products, and the second is offline sales in physical stores, as is emphasized in the government work report. The trade-in programs is not aimed to replace the same products, but supporting the new areas, new industries, and high-tech products to explore the space in the market. Second, we will push forward the trial programs on new forms, new models, new scenarios of consumption. As Minister Lan said, we will leverage and exploit finance to boost consumption. We will support 50 pilot cities, including Beijing, and focus on debut economy, cross-sector fusion at these key areas to develop a number of new high-profile consumption scenarios with good experience and broad appeal to unleash the potential of consumption. Second, on service consumption, in January this year, the State Council General Office rolled out a working plan on fostering growth drivers for consumption in services, which outlined 6+3 priorities, namely 6 key areas, including housekeeping, housekeeping, traffic, online visual audio services, travel and accommodation, automotive aftermarket services, inbound consumption, and 3 potential areas, including performance services, sports events, and experimental services. We will work with relevant departments to focus on these key areas and support to improve these supportive policies, and we will also open up further to the outside and ease restrictions internally to expand market access and open up and work for greater effects in cloud computing, biotechnology, wholly foreign-owned hospitals, and remove the unreasonable restrictions in domestic services and expand high-quality supply services. Third, on lower-tier markets, as the government work report said, we should unleash the vitality in lower-tier markets. Lower-tier markets are represented by third-tier and fourth-tier cities and county areas, which account for over 70% of population, 60% of GDP and retail sales, with fast consumption growth and huge potential to be tapped. We have put them into 3 categories, namely core areas, growing areas, and basic areas, and we take targeted measures for each category of them, because different areas have different population and economy. So we divide them into 3 categories. For example, the core areas, the population is over 500,000, GDP above 50 billion yuan, and the key task is to expand the growth of consumption, build core business districts and high-quality pedestrian streets, and encourage development of AI plus, IP plus, immersive experience consumption, and to introduce first stores in the region. For growing regions, their places include With more than 200,000 people and GDP above 10 billion yuan, the key task is to unlock the potential of existing consumption capacity, upgrade and renovate the existing commercial centers, and to improve the layout of chain stores, and to develop some small stores that carries local culture and time-honored brands. For those other basic areas having a small population and economy, the key task is to ensure the regular consumption and develop a county-level comprehensive commercial center in a targeted manner and increase the radiating effects to countryside and unleash the consumption, the potential of consumption in these lower-tier markets. Thank you.
请北区第5排第1位女士，谢谢。
谢谢主持人。光明日报记者提问，我的问题提给潘行长。2025年货币政策支持实体经济取得了明显成效。2026年是“十五五”开局之年。昨天政府工作报告明确了今年将继续实施适度宽松的货币政策。请问这方面央行有何考虑？谢谢。
With Guangming Daily, my question is for Governor Pan. In 2025, the monetary policy was effective in supporting the real economy, and this year marks the beginning of the 15th five-year plan. According to the government work report, it makes clear that this year China will continue to apply an appropriately accommodative monetary policy. So for the People's Bank of China, what is the thinking behind this? Thank you.
好，谢谢你的问题。
Thank you for your question.
媒体界的各位朋友，大家好。
Friends from the media, good
感谢大家
afternoon.
的对金融业改革发展
I want to thank you for your long-standing interest in and support to financial reform and development and the work of the PBOC. Since 2025, acting on the decisions of the CPC Central Committee and under the guidance of the Central Financial Commission, the PBOC has adopted an appropriately accommodative monetary policy, made the central bank's policies more relevant to and targeted at market concerns. We have rolled out multiple measures in aggregates, pricing, and structure, and supported steady growth of the real economy, high-quality development, and stable operation of the financial market. At the start of this year, we released regulations and lowered the interest rates on structural monetary policy tools by 0.25 percentage points and improved policy factors and established a dedicated re-lending facility of 1 trillion yuan, especially for private businesses. We've also continued to maintain ample liquidity. Since this year, through open market tools, over 2 trillion yuan medium and long-term liquidity has been deployed. Generally speaking, the overall financing conditions has remained accommodative and financial aggregates grown reasonably. We will release relevant indicators in a week. At the end of January this year, total social financing grew by 8.2% year-on-year. Broad money M2 grew by 9% year-on-year. Comprehensive financing cost has been low. In January, the weighted average interest rate on newly issued corporate loans and personal housing loans was 3.2% and 3.1%, both at historical lows. Credit structure has further improved. Loan in science-tech, green, inclusive, elderly care, digital, and other areas maintained double-digit growth, or higher than the average growth of loans. In 2025, the net revenue of the bond market was 16 trillion yuan, 46 of the total, which is also quite high in recent years. It also shows the financing structure of China is going through profound development. In 2026, the PBOC will earnestly implement the decisions of the CPC Central Committee, continue to implement the appropriately accommodative monetary policy, highlight promoting steady economic growth and moderate price rebound, flexibly and effectively use reserve requirement cuts, interest cut rates, and other monetary policy tools, and coordinate existing and new policies to create a conducive monetary and financial environment for the start of the 15th Five-Year Plan. First, on the quantity. Besides the traditional way of the reserve requirement ratio, the quantitative monetary policy toolkit also contains reserve repo, medium-term lending facility (MLF), government bonds, trade, and other open market tools. We will use them in a flexible and effective manner and maintain ample liquidity so that social financing skill and growth of money supply are in line with economic growth and overall price expectation. Second, on the rate, on the basis of economic and financial conditions and the need of macro adjustment, we will guide and adjust interest rate and work to see that overall financing costs stay at a low level. We will strengthen interest rate policy implementation and oversight, and enhance regulation on some market behaviors that may weaken monetary policy transmission. We will ensure standardized intermediary financing fees. Third, on the structural monetary policy tools will focus on supporting domestic demand, scientific innovation, and small, medium, and micro enterprises. At the end of January, the scale of structural monetary policy tools stood at around 5.5 trillion yuan, about 11% of the total asset of the PBOC. We will also guide financial institutions in scientifically assessing risks, improve credit structure, provide support and conduct controls in a tailored manner, prevent involutionary competition, and support economic structural adjustment, transition, and upgrading. We will better coordinate monetary and fiscal policies in interest, subsidy, guarantee, and risk and cost sharing to make them more effective. Fourth, on the exchange rate. This year, the RMB exchange rate against the US dollar has appreciated. This is related to China's continued economic development, weakened US dollar index, and corporate seasonal foreign exchange settlement. Now, the RMB exchange rate against the US dollar is within a median range in recent years. China does not have the need or intention to devaluate its currency to gain competitive edge in trade. The position of the PBOC has been always clear. We will continue to uphold a decisive role of the market in exchange rate formation, keep exchange rate flexible, strengthen expectation guidance, and keep RMB exchange rate basically stable at an adaptive and balanced level. In certain circumstances, we will, following international rules, use macro-prudent management tools to correct herd behaviors of the market. And that is why we decided to adjust the foreign exchange risk reserve requirements ratio for forward foreign exchange sales, which is in line with international rules. There are different kinds of factors that may affect exchange rates, such as geopolitics, unexpected incidents, and the financial market, which can be volatile and highly uncertain. For example, the US and Israel launched military strikes against Iran, which has increased the sense of risk mitigation in international markets, which has also led to the fluctuation of US dollar index and the index of other currencies, which is quite clear in the global market. After years of development, China has more mature participants and entities in participating in the international market. The PBOC has provided services for enterprises to manage risks. Now the share of businesses using exchange rate hedging tools and that of RMB in cross-border trade settlements have both reached 30%. So combined, they are over 60%, which means that about 60% of import and export is less affected by exchange rate changes. And this year, the number is likely to continue to go up. In the medium and long term, which is about the next 5 to 15 years, the PBOC will implement the 15th five-year plan, build a sound monetary policy system, properly handle the relations between short-term and long-term, steady growth and risk prevention, internal and external, and coordinate the goals, tools, and the transmission of policies. In terms of the goals, China has adopted the quantity-based and price-based adjustment in parallel. We will gradually de-emphasize quantity-based intermediate targets, use financial aggregates more as a more monitoring, referential, and forecasting indicator, and create conditions to better play the role of interest rate adjustment. In terms of tools, we will improve the toolkit, improve short, mid, and long-term base money injection mechanism, harness the role of the 7-day reverse repo rate in open market, guide short-term monetary market rate to better center around policy rate, continue to conduct the trade of government bonds, improve the reserve requirement system, and improve the structural monetary policy system with focuses and moderately. In terms of transmission, we will improve the market-based interest rate formation, adjustment, and pass-through mechanism, ensure smooth transmission from policy rate to market benchmark rate and different kinds of financial market rates, improve policy communication mechanisms, and increase policy transparency. Thank you.
谢谢，请大家继续提问。 请中区第3排第1位男士，谢谢。
好，谢谢主持人。经济日报记者提问，这个问题提给吴清主席。今年是“十五五”开局之年，请问证监会为要落实“十五五”规划，在未来5年推进资本市场高质量发展有哪些主要考虑，还有哪些重要举措？谢谢。
With Economic Daily, my question is for Chairman Wu. This year marks the beginning of the 15th five-year plan. With regard to implementing the 15th five-year plan, what major considerations does the CSRC have, and what key measures will the CSRC take to promote high-quality development of the capital market in the next 5 years? Thank you.
好，谢谢您的提问啊。
Thank you for your question.
借这个机会啊。
To start with, I would like to take this opportunity to thank people from different sectors and friends from the media for your long-standing interest and support to China's capital markets and to the work of the SCRC. During the 14th five-year plan period, under the strong leadership of the CPC Central Committee and State Council, we've worked with relevant sides to implement the new 9 guidelines, actively responded to internal and external challenges, and promoted risk prevention, regulation, and high-quality development of the capital market in a synchronized manner. During the 14th five-year plan period, the equity and bond financing in exchange markets totaled 64 trillion yuan. The share of direct financing grew to 31.97. The structure of financing is undergoing profound changes. This number has increased by 3.2% compared with the 13th five-year plan period. And the financing in equity and bond has provided important tools and products for investors. About 590 million yuan of the financing was shareholding financing, and the cash dividend of the equity market reached 1.07 billion yuan. Now the total market capitalization of A shares is over 110 trillion yuan. The annual revenue of the over 5,400 listed companies is over half of the GDP. In the GSI 300 constituent stocks, companies from emerging sectors with strategic importance weighted over 45%, accumulating greater momentum for innovation-driven and high-quality development. The market value of A shares float held by medium and long-term capital increased by 40%. And the market function of coordinating investment and financing has been further improved. In terms of market manipulation, insider trading, financial fraud, and other illegal cases, the number and amount of penalties increased by 82 and 39% respectively compared with the 13th five-year plan period, increasing fairness and transparency of the market. The scale, structure, and quality of the capital market improved notably. Its resilience and risk resistance ability further strengthened. The stock market's role as a barometer has been better brought out. In keeping employment, enterprise operations, markets, and expectations stable, it has played increasingly important roles. In the period covered by the 15th five-year plan will be critical as we work to reinforce foundations and push ahead on all fronts toward basically achieving socialist modernization. It is also critical as the capital markets advance toward high-quality development. The 15th five-year plan has laid out important requirements to make the capital market more inclusive, adaptable, and better balance its financing and investment functions. The CSRC will continue to work with relevant parties to ensure 100% implementation, focus on serving Chinese modernization and boosting China's strengths in finance, coordinate risk prevention, strengthen regulation, and high-quality development. To promote high-quality development of the capital market, we will work on 5 fronts. First, we will make the market more resilient and stable. Stability is of overarching importance and a prerequisite of the high-quality development of the capital market. We will continue to pool strengths to foster market mechanisms and ecosystems that encourage long-term investments with long-duration capital, improve mechanisms of ensuring market stability with Chinese characteristics, diversify the means of cross-cyclical adjustment, and increase the inherent stability of the market. Second, we will make the systems more inclusive and adaptable, focusing on deepening the reform of investment and financing. We will continue to improve the fundamental systems of the capital market, develop diversified equity financing, develop multiple exit mechanisms for private funds, develop the bond, REITs, and asset securitization markets, develop more products and tools to serve the high-quality development of new quality productive forces with targeted efforts. We will steadily develop futures and derivatives market to better meet the need for risk management of businesses and individuals. Third, we will improve the quality and structure of listed companies. The key is that while ensuring the truthfulness of these companies, it's important to increase their investability. We will improve the incentive or restraint mechanism to ensure listed companies to better governance, step up dividend buyback, increase the value and return of investors, make the merger and restructuring market more dynamic, ensure efficient resources allocation, and facilitate the nurturing of more world-class enterprises. Fourth, we will make regulation, law enforcement, and the protection of investors more effective. This is our core mandate, which can only be strengthened. We will continue to uphold law and market regulation, improve the legal system of the capital market, and ensure market reform and development will always be law-based. We will continue to adopt a 5-pronged regulation approach, pursue digital smart regulation, make targeted efforts to combat financial fraud, market manipulation, insider trade, and other illegal acts, and improve the system of protecting the lawful rights and interests of investors. Fifth, we will deepen opening up and meet higher standards. Now, international investors have greater demands for diversified asset allocation. Chinese assets have become more attractive. We will foster a first-rate business environment that is market-oriented, law-based, and internationalized. Improve cross-border investment and financing facilitation. Make new strides in market, product, service, and institutions' two-way opening up. And build a more transparent, stable, and predictable market environment. We will also deepen participation in international financial governance reform, strengthen cross-border law enforcement cooperation, and enhance our capacity of regulation and risk mitigation as we open up wider. This year marks the beginning of the 15th five-year plan. In the new start, we will take the initiative to press ahead. We will implement the decisions of the CPC Central Committee and the requirements of the government work report, establish and practice a correct understanding of what it means to perform well, pursue progress while ensuring stability, improve both quality and performance, and base our efforts on national and international conditions. Advance reform, take focus on solid measures to implement all tasks and ensure a good start of the capital market to make our contribution to economic and social development in the 15th five-year plan period. Thank you.
请南区第二排第二位女士。谢谢。
谢谢主持人，我是《向日商报》的记者，我的问题是提给南部长的。南部长您好，您刚才提到过说，政策协同是今年财政政策的一个亮点，尤其是创新势力的财政金融协同、促内需的政策工具，市长对这个都非常的高度关注，能不能给我们做一个详细的介绍？谢谢。
With Hong Kong Commercial Daily, my question is for Minister Lan. Just now, you mentioned that policy coordination is a major highlight in fiscal policy this year. The market is particularly interested in the new fiscal financial coordination policy instrument to facilitate domestic demand expansion. So could you give us a more detailed introduction? Thank you.
谢谢你的提问。
Thank you for your question.
内需为主导。
Domestic demand playing a leading role and domestic circulation running internally is a unique strength of a major country's economy. China's economy is now moving toward innovation-led and high-quality development, but the problem of strong supply and weak demand is still prominent. Consumption lacks momentum, and growth in private investment is sluggish. To address this problem, this year the central fiscal budget allocated 100 billion yuan, as I introduced earlier, to roll out a fiscal financial coordination package of 6 policies. 4 of them are targeted for supporting private investment, and the other 2 for consumption. The policy package take a comprehensive use of loan interest subsidies, guarantee compensation, and risk-sharing tools. And the key is to leverage the policy coordination and alignment effects of fiscal, financial, and industrial policies. The fiscal part established the system, the mechanism, and provide the funds. The financial part provided liquidity, and the industry and information technology departments put forward lists of projects forming a chain of fiscal taking lead, finance, expanding effects, and market operating, tapping more social resources which will flow to the key areas of expanding domestic demand. Together with this year's consumer goods trading program, 250 billion yuan funds, the intensity is greater than last year. According to preliminary calculations, hundreds of millions yuan of fiscal funds could benefit trillions yuan of credit, giving full play to the leveraging role of government funds. In terms of the focus of policy, there are 3 main aspects. First, giving consumers more choices. On the basis of last year's policy of loan interest subsidies of personal consumption, we have made some improvements and upgrading, shifting from providing options by the government to making decisions by the consumers. First, we remove the limits in the areas of consumption for people's daily consumption, be it on goods or services, big or small items, online, through online or offline means. As long as you consume, you pay, the fiscal funds will provide a loan interest subsidy of 1 percentage point. Second, increase the upper limits for one single subsidy for one single consumption loan at a financial institution. For a consumer, the highest amount of loan interest subsidy could be 3,000 yuan. Correspondingly, the amount of loan will be 300,000 yuan, which will better meet the demands of consumption for buying cars or buying furniture. Third, we expand new scenarios and new models of consumption to meet people's consumption habits. Some online consumer credit platforms, including Huabei and Weilidai, and credit card installment services and auto finance can all enjoy such low interest subsidies. All these improvements and upgrading further reduce costs and diversify the choices, make people more convenient, and make people feel the benefits of the policies. Second, the fiscal funds provide greater credit and reduce costs for the companies. The central fiscal budget, by taking special funds and building a multi-layered financing support system, reduces the thresholds and costs of private companies in financing. First, we have established a special guarantee plan for private investment. We increase the upper limit of guarantee amount and the proportion of risk sharing, and address the prominent issue of SMEs lacking guarantees and mortgages. Second, we implemented 3 subsidy policies for SMEs loans and equipment upgrades loans. The fiscal fund will give 1.5 percentage points of subsidies, and for the first time, eligible fixed asset loans is included in the subsidies. And for service sector business entities, the upper limit is expanded by 10 times, reaching 10 million yuan, and each company can enjoy as much as 100 trillion yuan. Third, we have established a risk-sharing mechanism for private companies' bonds. The central fiscal budget allocated special funds for them to provide credit support and make the capital market acknowledge and accept the bonds from private companies. Third, we ensure the policy dividends are universal and simply enjoyed. On the one hand, all the procedures are streamlined and all the subsidies come into effect without application. There will be no operations during the procedures, and the benefits will be issued automatically. On the other hand, there will be an increase in the number of institutions handling these issues, including domestic and foreign companies, rural and urban financial institutions, traditional and consumption financial companies, and new type of financial institutions realizing a full coverage. The institution, for example, the number has risen from 23 to 500, bringing convenience to the consumers. Overall, the policies have a large scale, flexible tools, is targeted and cover a wide range, and is an important measure for expanding effective demand and innovate macro regulation. It is a key step in promoting the domestic demand in the long run, and is a vivid practice of promoting interplay between well-functioning government and efficient market. During our investigation, we learned that from the first 2 years this year, all the credits have seen a trend of increasing quantity, expanding coverage, and reducing prices. According to preliminary data, in the first 2 months, the newly issued loans for service sector entities and individual consumption was 5.1 trillion yuan, up by 7%. And for the other two policies promoting policy, the newly issued SME loans and equipment upgrades loans reached 198.8 billion yuan, up by 20%. The growth is up by 11% compared with the newly issued RMB loans issued by the financial institutions and boosting 280 billion yuan of investment. We believe going forward, we will continue following the policy investment and adjust them in a timely manner to ensure that they will benefit the companies and people, and we believe that as the implementation of the policy starts, there will be greater vitality in private investment and greater vitality will be unleashed, and there will be stronger momentum in the domestic circulation. Thank you.
这个问题想问甄山杰主任。15规划纲要已经和大家见面了，我们看到里面有很多新的举措和新的亮点，请问如何更好地理解和把握这些新的重点内容？谢谢。
With Xinhua News Agency, my question is for Chairman Zheng. Now, the outline of the 15th five-year plan for national economic and social development is already available. We find many new measures and new highlights. So how to better understand these key points? Thank you.
谢谢您的提问。
Thank you for the question.
15规划纲要呢，确实有很多新的
Indeed,
措施和新
there
的
are
亮点。
quite a number of new measures and new highlights in the outline of the 15th five-year plan. In accordance with the recommendations of the CPC Central Committee, we have worked with relevant authorities to formulate the outline of the 15th five-year plan, which is being reviewed by the deputies to the 2 sessions these days. Based on our experience in formulating the outline, I think it is important to have a clear understanding of 3 things about the 15th five-year plan. First, we need to clearly understand the historical mission of the five-year plan in connecting the past and the future. In implementing the 15th five-year plan, it is vital to strengthen the groundwork and push forward on all fronts. That means we need to do a good job in areas that provide the foundation for development and security so that development will be more stable and resilient. And at the same time, we need to take great initiatives and act more proactively in strategic sectors crucial to modernization and future development. For instance, anticipation of demographic changes. As you know, China's population structure or demographic structure is shifting toward a higher quality growth, and population aging and fragmented distribution of population among different regions is the new trend. So we need to step up efforts in this regard. Let me give you an example. We have different number of students for compulsory education, high schools, and also higher education. So the number of students in all the 3 educational stages will peak this year. So we have made expansion of opportunities, educational opportunities a priority in our work. And also on research and innovation, we need to show up the weak links of basic research and original innovation. We are making new breakthroughs in innovation development and will complete the building of a country strong in education, science, technology, and talent by 2035. But our original innovation capability remains relatively weak. So to address this gap, the outline has made plans for strengthening breakthroughs on frontier technologies and promoting all-round development of science, technology, and talent. And second, we need to clearly understand the five-year plan's theme of high-quality development. The 15th five-year plan has taken high-quality development as its theme, which is consistent with the 14th five-year plan, and also the goal of making sure that officials have a correct understanding of what it means to perform well and act accordingly. At the practical level, we need to keep our focus on the central task of economic development. On the one hand, we need to fully unleash the potential of economic growth and achieve an appropriate increase in economic output. The outline proposes to keep GDP growth within an appropriate range, without a specific quantitative target. But there is another element of the target, that is to lay a good foundation for doubling the 2020 per capita GDP by 2035 to reach the level of a moderately developed country. And that target is both quantitative and qualitative. On the other hand, we need to promote the upgrade of economic structure and push for higher quality economic growth. The outline has set an important goal of promoting the steady increase in total factor productivity. It has also made plans for advancing deeper integration of science, technology, and innovation and industrial innovation. All of them are key priorities for improving quality and efficiency. And also need to coordinate development and security, prevent all sorts of risks to ensure steady progress toward Chinese modernization. Third, we need to clearly understand the people-first approach underpinning the five-year plan. The five-year plan concerns both the interests of the state and the well-being of every household. Among the primary indicators of the outline, which with a total number of over 20 indicators, those related to public well-being account for the largest share. There are altogether 7 indicators on livelihood, covering areas such as employment, income, education, medical care, elderly care, and child care, and also life expectancy. So altogether 7 indicators on people's livelihood. All these indicators aim to encourage a shift from meeting people's essential needs to delivering high-quality services in the relevant sectors. In the meantime, we have set out over 130 tasks. We pay attention to investing both physical assets and people in the funding arrangement for major projects and programs, with a focus on addressing pressing difficulties and problems that concern people most. We will implement a number of visible and accessible livelihood projects with tangible results in areas like elderly care, child care, primary level medical services, and vocational and skills training. Another important agenda item of the 2 sessions is the deliberation on the law on national development planning. This law encapsulates the party's experience in leading the country's economic and social development through 5-year plans, and will provide robust legal safeguards for the formulation and implementation of 5-year plans. Thank you.
请大家继续提问。大家提问很踊跃，请中区第4排第1位男士。
I have a question for Minister Wang Wentao on the trade surplus. The trade surplus continues to set records in recent years, reaching $1.2 trillion last year. And this has drawn attention, a lot of it negative, from many trading partners across the world. Yesterday in the work report and the 5-year plan, it says that China aims to stabilize the size of foreign trade while optimizing the structure and promoting more innovative trade development. What are your specific goals and policy considerations, and how do you attempt to achieve this? How do you work towards a balanced development of both imports and exports so as to decrease the trade surplus and to reduce trade tensions? Thank you.
彭博社提问，我的问题提给王文涛部长。近年来，中国贸易顺差屡创新高，去年贸易顺差达到1.2万亿，这引发许多贸易伙伴的关注。昨天的政府工作报告和“十五五”规划提出 推动外贸稳规模、优结构，以及推动贸易创新发展。请问有哪些具体目标和政策考虑？商务部将如何推动进出口平衡发展，从而减少顺差？谢谢。
好，谢谢你的提问。
Thank you.
我想呢这个问题我分两部
So I
分。
think I will divide my answer into two parts.
First,
I will
提到的外贸稳规模优结构，
I
然
will
后再
talk
回
about
答关于贸易顺差的
stabilizing
问题。
scale and structure
2025年呢，对
during
我
the
国外贸
15th
来
Five-Year
说，
Plan, and then on
去
the
年我们的
surplus.
外部的环境可谓是
In the year
风高浪急。
2025, for China's foreign
在习
trade,
近平
the
同志为
external
核心的党
environment
中央的坚强领导下，
is in the
我们的
face
外
of
贸
high winds
是
and choppy
顶
winters.
压前行，
Under the leadership
稳
of the
中向好，
CPC Central
应该
Committee
说
with
实
Communist
现
CGTN
了
at
这
its
15
core,
的
China's
圆满
foreign
收官。
trade has
去年的外
made
贸，我们用
ensured
4个字可以
stability
来
while
概
pursuing
括。第一个
progress
字呢是
despite
稳。
pressure,
我们
and
的贸易大国的
achieved a
地位更
successful
加稳
completion
固
of the 14th
我们的
Five-Year
货
Plan
物进
period.
出口呢
I will use
迈过了
full
45
words
万
to
亿的
describe.
大关，
First, stability.
增长
China's status
13.8%，
as a
连续
major
95
foreign
年
trading country has been more
同时呢
stable.
我们
China's
的服
trading
务贸易
goods
进出口
surpassed
超
45
8万亿
trillion
元
US threshold, up by
规模呢也
3.8%,
是稳居
and
世界
that is a
前
growth for 9 years
这是
running.
一个稳。
China's
第二个
trading
是进
services has
稳
surpassed
中有
8
进
trillion
进
yuan among
我们的贸易
the
强
leading countries in the
国
world.
取
The
得了
second
显
is
著的进
progress.
展。
We have
包
made
括我们贸易
remarkable
结构
progress
的
in building
优
a
化
strong
含
country in
金
trade.
量含率量
There have been
含
greater
资现在还有人
innovation,
工智能
smart
这些
and green
产品
development,
这些呢，刚才主
including
席讲
smart
在资本
products
市
and
场也有
artificial
也
intelligence.
有反应。比如说我们的机电产品，我
As
们的
Chairman Wu just
出口
mentioned,
占比首次
For
超过
example,
60%。
the export of mechanical and electrical
另外，我们的一些
products
高端的智能啊
accounted for
绿
more
色
than
低碳
60% for the first
包
time.
括这个机器人啊等等，已
High-end,
经成为我国外贸的
smart,
一个新
green,
的
low
标签。
carbon, including
第三个
robots,
是
have
活，
become new labels
我
of
们的
China's
外
foreign
贸的
trade.
新业态
The
新模
third
式
word
展
is
现出
vitality.
强劲的活
The
力。
new forms,
跨
new
境电
models
商
of Chinese
进出
foreign
口
trade
规
has
模达
shown
到
new
了
momentum
2.75万亿。
and strong
像
vitality.
现在有3网
The
啊
cross-border
网
e-commerce
游
trade
网
has
剧
reached 2.75 trillion yuan. Today we have online fictions, online
这
games,
个
online
说
dramas.
网剧吧，我们现在全球的
I
这个市
remember
场的营
that
收是占了
the
90%，
revenue,
90%。
China's revenue in online drama accounted for 90%, over 90%, and the download of apps is above 80%. So what we are watching, whatever online dramas we are
另外
watching
呢，
is
我们这
the
个有
dramas
进
that
出
are
口设计的企业是
followed
超
by
了
the world.
78万家，民营企业占比呢
Over
占了
780 companies have registered foreign trade, reaching a record high, and among them, private companies accounted for nearly 6%. And the fourth word, 60%. The
我们
fourth
现
word
在
is
贡献“一带一
resilience.
路”的国家占
We
比
have
在贸易
shown
当
strong
中已经
resilience in
超过了
foreign
一半
trade.
占到
We
了
have
51.9%。
160
这个还是那句话，
major trading
西
partners,
方不亮，
and
东方
half
亮
of。them, more than half of them,
没了北方，
51.9%
有
are
南方。
Belt and Road countries.
如果还
As we
能加
always
一句
say,
的话，
when the West is dark,
叫
the East
千磨
remains lit.
万
When the
击
North is lost,
还
the
坚劲，
South still shines.
任何
I will quote
东西
another poem,
南北风，
which
这也
is,
是我们
we
中
will
国外
stay
贸的
strong
底
and
气所
firm
在
as the bamboos, though
今年
struck
前2
and
个月，我
beaten
们外贸
without
总
rest,
体延续了
careless of the
去
winds from
年
whatever
的
direction.
特点和
This
态
is where
势。
China's confidence in its foreign
应该
trade
说
comes from.
数字还没
In
有
the
正
first 2
常
years, our foreign
比预
trade
期的
has
要好。
maintained the
但是
trend
呢，
in the
我
past
们仍
year.
然
We don't
看到
have figures
我们外贸
at
面临
this
的外部
moment,
的环
but
境
it is better than
还是仍
expected.
然的严峻
That said,
啊。
the
我
external
们外贸的压
environment
力
is
仍
still
然不
complex
小。
and severe,
近期地缘冲突
with
加
still
剧，
much
国际经贸
pressures
秩
on
序
foreign
的全
trade.
球的
Recently,
产供链
geopolitical conflicts
遭
are
到了
worsening,
冲击。
international trade order and
应该说
global
是更
supply
加的
chains
不确
have
定
been hit,
不稳定
bringing greater
每年在这里都
uncertainties
讲
and instability.
不确定不确定。
This is what we
现在我感觉
discuss
到
each year,
没有罪，
uncertainties.
只有
I think there's no upper limits of the uncertainties we will see each year. As the uncertainties grow each year, this year we will work on the 3 pillars: trade, services trade, and digital trade, and make coordination efforts in the four-following aspects to stabilize the foundation of foreign trade. First, we will coordinate greater stability and higher quality. to improve policy support and guidance. We will focus on new issues, new problems, front-load our efforts, focus on intermediary trade, supply chain cooperation, fiscal, tax, finance, and development environment to work out policy measures to promote growth. And we will also coordinate. We will, to stabilize orders and expand markets, we will focus on new areas, new business forms to accelerate the development of digital trade, green trade, AI products, green electric equipment exports, to foster and expand the momentum of foreign trade. Second, we will coordinate emerging and traditional areas and consolidate and expand diversified markets. Last year, our export to the United States decreased by 19.5% by RMB, but the overall export grew by 6.1%. The contrast between the drop and growth speaks to the diversity. As we speak, the global trade landscape is reshaping and the international market is undergoing profound shifts. We will adapt to the new situation, new changes, and promote integrated development of trade and investment and support companies to go abroad to participate in exhibitions and host exhibitions and host the Canton Fair and other exhibitions, sign more free trade agreements, expand our circle of friends to help companies to better participate in the market. My third point, on your question on surplus, 1.2 trillion surplus, we will coordinate export and import to promote a balanced development of trade. We have noted their concerns and we will work to ensure going forward the balanced development of trade. I believe that import and export are like the two wheels of a car. The more coordinated they are, the more steady China's development trade will be. China is the second largest economy and also the second largest import market. We have imports. We are the second largest one. Our middle incomers are also growing. So we still have a huge potential in our import market. It is also a market that is open up to the world. We will reach a balance between import and export, which means we will expand import while stabilizing export, and give full play to our supersized market, expand import of agricultural products, high-quality consumption goods, advanced technological equipment, and key component parts, and make good use of platforms, including the China International Import Expo. This is the only one national-level expo themed on import in the world. Apart from that, starting from last year, we started to hold a campaign themed on sharing China's market and exporting to China, and expand channels of export and invite more high-quality products and services from other countries to Chinese market. Fourth, we will coordinate production services and life services to develop trade in services. In recent years, apart from trading goods, our trading services is also developing very fast. In 2025, the growth rate was 7.4%, up by 3.6% than trade in goods. That will be an important engine of China's foreign trade going forward. We have the strength of made in China, and which is going abroad. That will drive R&D, design, examination, and repairing. All these production services to go abroad, go global. And we also leverage China's investment strength to help finance, legal services, consultant services to go global. We will also foster China services, this brand. We'll make good use of visa-free policies, expand tourism services, export, and tap into the potential of culture, traditional Chinese medicine, catering, and import high-quality services, life services, including healthcare and medical services, to foster more growth drivers in foreign trade. Thank you.
香港中评社记者提问，我的这个问题想请教一下证监会的吴主席。我们注意到“十五五”规划对新兴产业和未来产业做了一个重要的部署。那么面对新形势，请问证监会在进一步提高资本市场制度的包容性、适应性，更好服务科技创新以及这个新质生产力发展方面有什么样的一些新举措和考虑？谢谢。
谢谢。
With China Review News Agency, my question is for Chairman Wu of the CSRC. The 15th Five-Year Plan makes important instructions with regard to emerging industries and industries of the future. In light of the new circumstances, what new measures and considerations does the CSRC have in making the capital market more institutionally inclusive and adaptable, and better serving scientific and technological innovation and the development of new quality productive forces? Thank you.
感谢您的问题啊，很重要。
Thank you for your question. It's indeed a very important one. General Secretary Xi Jinping has stressed on different occasions that we must put the development of new quality productive forces in light of local conditions at a more prominent strategic position and enhance industrial synergy to coordinate traditional industries and emerging ones. At the government work report, Premier Li highlighted the need
常态化实施上市融资并购重组绿色通道机制
the long-term M&A and listing green channel for relevant companies and to provide innovation with financial means. In recent years, the new round of technological revolution and industrial transformation have picked up pace. Major capital markets around the world have taken the initiative to reform, to adapt to new development trends. As for China, whether it is about the nurturing and growing of emerging sectors and planning for future industries, or the transforming and upgrading of traditional industries, we need to better harness the function of the capital market, accelerate the integrated development of scientific innovation and industrial innovation. And new quality productive forces will support high quality development of the capital market and increase the return for investors and sustained return for them. The CSRC, prioritizing the development of a modernized industrial system and new quality productive forces, has rolled out the 8 measures for the SDAR market, the 6 measures for the M&A, and 1+6 reform of the SDAR market. A number of innovation enterprises have completed IPO and M&A and restructuring. The A-share market's tech-driven story is gaining clearer traction.
当然，我们的资本市场不仅仅是
Of course, the capital market is not only about technology, but also the opportunities provided by high-quality economic development and trade, and the resilience they produced, as has been introduced by Minister Wang, in the complex and changing international trade environment. Our market has remained resilient. Behind it, it is the high quality and resilient economic development of China. We have also talked with representatives from the international investment community. They are quite interested in 2 things. One is the risks in the international market, including supply chains. And they're also interested in China's 15th Five-Year Plan, from the recommendations to the outlines. And Mr. Zheng just gave a very credible introduction, and the market has been following it very closely. It shows that they're interested in China's market and China's development. And the new opportunities in the development of China. Moving forward, we will synergize existing and new policies and channel more production factors and resources toward new quality productive forces, and work to see that the high-quality development of capital market service will further speed up. We will soon adopt two measures. The first measure is to deepen the reform of the gross enterprise market, GEM. We will highlight its function, better support emerging and future industries and other forms of real economy. First, we will make the system more resilient and extensive. We will add a more precise and inclusive listing criteria and scale up support for new businesses, forms, and new tech companies. And we will actively support companies of new types of consumption, modern services, and other high-quality innovation and startup companies in going public through the GEM. And second, we will apply the useful experience of the SDAR to the GEM. Specifically, for high-quality companies, we will carry out IPO pre-review, allow eligible companies under review to increase capital and expand shareholding with their shareholders, and improve the pricing of new shares. Third, we will improve the quality of listed companies in the GEM comprehensively, establish mechanisms of listing recommendation, selection review, and whole process regulation, better serve local economy and private businesses. Now, the plan of deepening reform of the GEM is basically in place. We will further improve it and release it when it's ready. The second measure is to optimize refinancing mechanism. Refinancing is important for listed companies to grow, promote the formation of innovation capital, and nurture innovation drivers. Before the Spring Festival, the three exchanges in Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Beijing have rolled out measures for refinancing. On systems and rules, we will improve the review and registration mechanisms to make it more convenient. First, we will make it more inclusive and adaptable. We will optimize the criteria for identifying strategic investors and facilitate the participation of social insurance, annuities, and other long-term funds participation. We will improve the fixed-price private placement to draw private placement pricing closer to market price and better balance the benefits between listed companies and investors. And we will further simplify refinancing procedures. Second, we will highlight support to high-quality and scientific development. For listed companies with rules-based operation, high market recognition and representation, we will increase review efficiency. We will extend the identification criteria of the STAR and GEM to the main board. We will work to see that the increased refinancing proceeds will be used in R&D, relax refinancing restrictions when share price is below offering price, and shorten the time intervals of refinancing. Third, we will further improve regulations, strengthen the whole process regulation covering application acceptance, review, registration, and fundraising and use, step up law enforcement, act in accordance with law to strictly punish refinancing fraud, improper change of the intended use, and other illegal acts, to protect the rights and interests of investors. To make the capital market system more inclusive and adaptable is a systemic project. We will make a take a step-by-step approach, prioritize quality, ensure sound regulation at the listing gateway, and accountability of intermediary agencies, prevent application with known misconduct and rush of applications, better coordinate investment and financing, and ensure that the efforts to deepen reform, improve function, and keep markets stable reinforce with each other. Scientific innovation requires a big input, and their cycle is long and risks are high. For a company to succeed, it needs sustained input and needs to be able to find opportunities. To make capital markets support the scientific innovation more inclusive also requires step-by-step exploration. We hope different parties can show more understanding and inclusiveness to create a sound environment that encourages innovation, incentive success, and tolerate failure. Thank you.
谢谢，请大家继续提问。请北区第4排第2位男士。谢谢。
谢谢主持人，我是每日经济新闻记者。我这个问题提给人民银行的潘行长。2025年面对外部冲击，我国金融市场保持了平稳运行。新的一年，人民银行在防范金融风险、维护金融稳定方面有哪些考虑？谢谢。
With National Business Daily, my question is for Governor Pan. In 2025, despite external shocks, China's financial market maintained stable. In the new year, what considerations does the People's Bank of China have in terms of preventing financial risks and stabilizing the financial sector? Thank you.
谢谢。
Well, thank you for your question.
在过去的1年呢，
Over the past
总
year,
体来说，
generally
我国
speaking,
重点领域的金
in
融风
key
险、
areas, the financial risks in China have been diffused
金融体系和金融市场
effectively.
运
The
行
financial system and market has been operating smoothly.
这样几个方面。
It can be shown in the following
一是呢，
aspects.
我国
First,
金融机构
China's
整体
financial
健康。
institutions have
到去
operated
年末呢，商业银行的
healthily.
资本
By the end
充
of
足率
last
是
year, commercial banks' capital
15.1%，
adequacy ratio
不良
was
贷款率
15.5%, non-performing loan ratio 1.5%, and loan loss provision coverage ratio 205%. The comprehensive solvency adequacy ratio of insurance companies was 181%.
这些主要的
All
指标的均显著的高
are
于
notably higher
监管标准。
than oversight
风险的抵
criteria,
御能力
indicating a
总体
quite
较强。
strong capability to withstand
二
risks.
是呢，金融市
Second,
场
the
运行
financial market has operated
外
steadily.
汇市场方
In
面
the foreign exchange
，2025 年
market
人
in
民币对美
2025,
元对美
RMB
元的双边汇率升值4%，
appreciated by
在世界主要
4.5%
经济体
against
的
the
货币
US
中的
dollar
大体
and is
处于
at
中
a
位水平。
median level among currencies
债
of
券市
major
场
economies. In
债
the
券收益
bond
率在合理
market,
出现波动。
the
10年期国债收益率稳定在 1.8%。
10-year government bond yield
企
stayed
业的
around
发债
1.8%.
发债成本呢也
And
保持较低的
corporate
水平。
bond issuance cost remain at a relatively
在
low
资本市
level.
场方
Bond
面，
yield
正如刚
fluctuates
才的
within a
吴
proper
清主
range.
席所
In
介
the
绍，
capital market,
那
as being
2025
discussed
我国
by
的
Mr.
股票市
Wu
场
Qing,
在
in
全球的主要
2025,
股市
the
中呢
A-share
表
market
现比
performed
较好。
quite well among major stock markets
香港的
globally.
H 股市场呢也表现良好。
Hang Seng Index
香港
has
的
been
恒生指
performing
数
well.
呢去年
It
上涨超过了
grew by
27%。
over 27% last year.
第二、第三点呢是
Third,
重点领域的风
risks
险
in
是
key
否收敛。
areas have been further
融
reduced.
资平台的债务风险的化解处得重要的阶段
We've
性
made
成效。
important progress in
这项
resolving
工作
risks
呢
of
我们
financing
开展了
platforms.
差不多将近
We
3年
have
的时间了。
made
到去年末，
efforts
与
over the past
2023
3
年
years.
初
By
相
the end of last year,
融
compared
资
with the
平台
beginning
的
of
数量和
2023,
债
the
务
number
规
of
模
financing
均下
platforms
降超过
went
70%。
down by over 70%. So
我们
is the
支持
debt
配合金融
scale.
监管
We
部
have
门和地
supported
方政
and
府综合
worked
运用
with
在
financial
线修
regulators
复、
and local
兼并
governments
重
to
组
use
市场
on-the-spot
退出等方式，
rehabilitation, merger and
推动
restructuring,
中小
market
金融机
exit,
构的改革
and
发
other
展。
means to promote reform
高
and
风
risk
险中小
resolvement
金
of
融机
small
构
and
的数量
medium-sized
较丰
institutions.
富
The
下
number
降。
of high-risk institutions would cut by
同时，
over
我们会
up
同
by
相关
half
部
over the
门
peak.
对非法
We've
集
also
资、
worked with
疏
relevant
离货币
agencies
的
to
交
crack
交
down
易、炒
on
作、
illegal
地下钱庄
fundraising,
等非法
speculation
金
and
融
trade
活
of
动，
virtual
保持
currencies,
高压
illegal
的打
banks,
击
and
态势。
other illegal financial activities.
下一步呢，人民银
Moving
行将
forward,
认真落
the
实党的
PBOC
20
will
届
earnestly
四中全
implement
会
the
精神
decisions of
和
the fourth
政府
plenum
工
of
作
the
报告
20
部署
CPC Central Committee and the
在
government
防
work
范金融
report.
风险、维护金融稳定
Prevent
方面，
financial
重点
risks.
要
In
做
terms of
好
preventing risks
5
and
个方面的工
ensuring
作。
financial stabilities,
一
we
是
will
呢，把
work
握
on
好
the
增
following
长
5
防
fronts.
风险
First,
的动态平衡。
handle the
经济呢，是
equilibrium
金
between
融的
steady
基础。
growth and
刚
risk
才几位
prevention.
领
The
导都谈到
economy
这
is
个
the foundation of
那么
finance.
经济领域的很多问题，
Many of the economic
往往会
issues
通过金
are
融的这个
seeing and spilled over through finance. And may get intertwined with financial risks. So it is important to ensure sound equilibrium between economic growth, economic structural adjustment, and financial risk prevention at the macro level. Stay committed to high-quality economic development and ensure financial stability at the origin. Second, dissolve risks in key areas in an orderly manner. On diffusing the debt risks of financing platforms, we will strictly apply financial and economic rules and disciplines, encourage local governments to coordinate funds, assets, and resources to diffuse debt risks, strip platforms of their government financing functions and transform into market-based entities. We will guide financial institutions through debt restructuring in reducing the liquidity risk and interest rate burden of financing platforms. On reform and risk mitigation of small and medium-sized banks, we will improve the early risk correction mechanism that is binding and the risk resolution responsibility mechanism based on clear alignment of authority and responsibility. We will support financial regulators and local governments in properly diffusing risks of key agencies in the market-oriented and law-based manner, urge relevant parties to fulfill their duties, strictly prevent risk spillover and the moral risks, and further reduce the risk of small and medium-sized banks. We will work with regulatory agencies, public security agencies, and others to continue to maintain high pressure on illicit financial activities. Third, uphold the steady operation of the financial market. In the foreign exchange market, as I've said in answering the first question, the position of the PBOC has been clear. I will not repeat it. In the bond market, we will monitor and assess the market from the macroprudential perspective, step up supervision, coordination, and weaken and disrupt the accumulation of risks. In the capital market, we will work with the CSRC to implement the structural policy tools for the market, supports the central Beijing investment company in playing the role of stabilizing like fund and increase the stability of the market. We are also exploring the establishment of a liquidity support mechanism for non-bankers in certain circumstances. Fourth, preventing the spillover of external shocks. The external environment has become even more complex and challenging. Geopolitical and economic and trade conflicts happen frequently. The inflation and monetary policy of major economies remain uncertain. The risks of fluctuation of the international markets are growing, which might, through channels like external demand, cross-border capital flow, and investors' expectation, have spillover effects on China's market. We will closely follow and evaluate the external influence, expand macro-prudential and financial stability policy tools, and stop the spread of risks promptly. Fifth, improving the system to ensure financial stability. We will advance the legislation and amendment of the law of financial stability and law on the People's Bank. We will enhance the capacity of risk monitoring, assessment, and warning so as to identify, issue warning of, expose, and handle risks as quickly as possible. From the macro counter-cyclical perspectives and the perspective of preventing risk spreading, we will strengthen macro-prudential management of major financial activities, systemically important financial institutions, the financial markets, and the financial infrastructure. We will strengthen resource supply for handling risks. Thank you.
请中区第3排第2位男士，谢谢。
谢谢主持人，我是来自深圳广电第一现场的记者。那么这个问题想提给国家发改委郑主任。过去1年，人工智能、机器人等高技术行业表现出了强劲的发展势头，给我们大家留下了深刻的印象。下一步，国家发改委在对这些行业的发展上有哪些政策支持？谢谢。
With Shenzhen Media Group, my question is for Chairman Zheng. Over the past year, high-tech industries such as AI and robots have demonstrated robust momentum, which is very impressive. Going forward, what are the policy considerations for the NDRC to support the development of these industries? Thank you.
谢谢您。
Thank you for the question. I could pretty much echo what you described in your question. There are also many examples and figures about the point you made, the robust growth of the relevant sectors. And there is a popular short video which is about a cargo ship on the Yangtze River and receives parcels delivered by drones. That is a vivid example of how drone technology is being applied in our everyday life. It's very convenient and also safe. So this kind of new scenarios will continue to emerge and accelerate the application of new technologies and development of new industries. I want to share with you some figures. Last year, China's high-tech manufacturing sector contributed to 26% industrial growth, though it only accounted for 17% of the industries. This is a combined result of China's institutional market, industrial and talent strength. What can be anticipated is that a group of high-growth industries will jump onto the stage during the 15th five-year period. Through generating new industries and tapping into the potential of existing industries, we will be able to create several trillion yuan or even bigger markets, promote a shift from quantitative to qualitative growth of the industrial system, and cultivate these industries into a new engine of high-quality development, which is the theme of the five-year plan period. Well, just now, Chairman Wu Qing said that the capital market is following very closely the development of the relevant industries. I remember last year, also at a press conference, I shared with the public some measures, support measures we plan to roll out in the coming year. And after the release of the news, there is a surge in the stock market. So we really hope that the growth of these emerging industries and the future industries can provide a boost to the stock market, and so to make Chairman Wu's job easier. So in terms of new industries, we'll focus on cultivating 5 emerging pillar industries and 6 future industries, including integrated circuit, aerospace, space, low-altitude aviation, robotics, so on and so forth. I think you all watch the Spring Festival Gala on CCTV, and the performance, the Kung Fu performance of the robotics is truly impressive. And the robotics, they are more and more human-like. But on the other hand, they're also less and less human-like, because as the technology develops, it can become more advanced. If the industry needs it, it can have 6 fingers or even more. So I think there is a broad prospect for the application of robotic technologies going forward. According to our estimate, these 6 industries, the total size of these industries already amounted to 6 trillion yuan last year, and in the coming 5 years, it is expected to double to reach 10 trillion yuan. And the 6 future industries include quantum technology, biomanufacturing, green hydrogen, and nuclear fusion energy, brain computer interface, embodied AI, and 6G. These industries are on the eve of technological breakthroughs. So the future industries today may well become the new pillar industries of tomorrow. So I'm confident that there will be more pleasant surprises presenting themselves before us going forward. And at the same time, we will continue to expand and strengthen traditional industries and promote the upgrade of key industries. It is estimated that A 10 trillion yuan market will be created in the coming 5 years in these existing industries, and that will also provide strong momentum for China's economic growth. So, going forward, we will prioritize our efforts in the following 3 areas to promote the development of high-growth industries. So first, we will focus on long-term planning. So, in areas like integrated circuit, satellite internet, domestic large aircraft, and nationwide computing power network, we will develop a number of major projects with extended industrial chain and large scale. Each of them could generate investment totaling 100 billion or even trillion yuan, and produce a number of national strategic assets that could strengthen the groundwork for development and benefit the long term. Second, we will ensure the guarantee of production factors. And last year, also on this very day, on this occasion, I briefed you about the National Venture Capital Guidance Fund, together with the Ministry of Finance, CSRC, the National Financial Regulatory Administration. We have taken robust steps to promote the initiative in Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangdong. Now the National Fund and 3 regional funds have both been launched and benefited a large number of business startups in multiple sectors. As I said just now, this year we're going to also launch a nationwide national M&A merger and acquisition fund to help companies exit the market in case of need. And that is also a very important step for us to address the problem of evolutionary competition. Finally, we will also underscore reform and coordination in our work. We pay both attention to the investment of project funding and also the development of institutions and systems. For instance, we will promote the capitalization and the monetization of intangible assets such as software development and data processing to better recognize intellectual values and form positive incentives. And also finding appropriate scenario is a critical link for the industrial application of technological breakthroughs. So we are going to carry out the campaign to promote the demonstration of large-scale application of new technologies, new products, and new scenarios. So together, there will be about 10 open scenarios being launched in the coming year. And in priority sectors and old age care services, we are going to identify about 100 flagship projects to promote the development and innovation of relevant industries. Thank you.
请中区第4排第1位女士，谢谢。
谢谢主持人。南方财经21世纪经济报道记者提问，我的提问给到商务部。近年来，商务部立足中国超大规模市场优势，陆续推出了购在中国、出口中国、投资中国等系列活动，能否介绍一下有关考虑？今年还有哪些具体的安排？谢谢。
With 21st Century Business Herald, my question is for MOFCOM. In recent years, MOFCOM has leveraged China's super large market and launched a number of activities such as shopping in China, export to China, and invest in China. What is the thinking behind this? For this year, are there any more plans? Thank you.
好，这个谢谢你的提问。
Thank you.
刚才的提问呢，讲到了一个
You mentioned
关键词
a keyword in your question,
市场
which is
规模。
supersized market.
这个市场呢，大家都知道是一个当今来
Indeed,
讲都是一个
market
稀缺
in
的
today's
资源。
world is a rare
个别国家
resource.
呢是把
Certain
市场
country
当作武器，
takes
当
market
作
as
筹码
a
实行报复。
weapon and a
中国作
bargaining
为
chip
负责任大国，
to
我们呢是
take
主动
a
的
protectionist
开放我们超大
approach
规
on
模
China
的市
as
场。
a major
我
responsible
们是把
country.
市场是当
A
作机遇，
supersized economy,
当作
we
合作。
see market as
近年
an
来，
opportunity
我
for
们
cooperation.
陆续的
Over the
推出
years,
购在中国、出口中
we
国、
have
投资中国3大
Launched 3 signature
就是贯彻
campaigns
党中央的决策部
buying
署
in China, exporting to
发挥
China,
我们
and investing in
强
China.
大的
The
国内
aim is
市
to
场的
act
优势
on
和
the
优
decision
势
and instruction of the
通
party
过
central committee
扩
and
大我们
leverage
的
the
自
strength
主
and
开
appeal
放，让
of
国内国际
the
两个市
huge
场的
domestic
商
market
品、服务、
and
能源、
expand
技术、资
volunteer
金
opening
等
up
要素能够流
to
动起来。
ensure smooth flow of factors, including goods, services, personnel, technology, and capital in the domestic and international markets, so that we will ensure domestic and international markets are interconnected and reinforce each other and grow together. Specifically, buying in China is to promote the exchange of personnel to attract more international visitors and tourists for inbound consumption and sightseeing shopping. And also, we will diversify the choices for our Chinese people to help them buy global products in China. Exporting to China means to support the entry of more global high-quality products and services into China. As a trading partner, this is our sincere invitation to countries around the world to share China's big market. It is a step that we take to expand, opening up voluntarily and make the pie of cooperation bigger. Investing in China is to welcome more companies from different countries to come to China and invest and operate in China. As we all know that the next China is still China. Many companies prefer the supersized market and the opportunities it could bring to them. As for the specifics of our work in the coming year, first on buying in China. In January this year, we held the launch ceremony in Shanghai, and during the Spring Festival, we held a special event, shopping for the Spring Festival. It is an important part of the entire campaign. Many foreign friends coming to China not only visit Beijing, Shanghai, Guangdong, Shenzhen, these big cities, they are also going to smaller middle cities to enjoy the ancient cities, try food, learn handicraft, and to enjoy the folk culture, the New Year vibe, so that the shopping and sightseeing are extended to immersive experiences. During the Spring Festival holiday in Beijing, Shanghai, and Zhejiang, the sales of tax refund have grown respectively 94.3% and 1.5 times and 3.4 times. Also, many Chinese people buy some foreign New Year gifts, including imported foreign chocolates and wines. Going forward, the Commerce Ministry will continue to develop this buying in China campaign from three aspects. First, we will host events, including special feature events and city-specific events, which will be 15. Second, we will launch policies. Apart from the current tax refund policy, we will launch a tax refund 2.0 policy. And third, we will optimize the scenarios. We will carry out a pilot program for building an international consumption environment. On exporting to China, in February, we held the first event in Beijing, and throughout the year, there will be more than 100 serial events. Our work will focus on three aspects. First, reinforcing events. We will hold different types of promotion events and both online and offline, reinforcing each other and build more matchmaking channels and scenarios for promoting consumption of imported products. Second, we will promote matchmaking of supply and demand. We will find the best products to match with what is needed in China, and we will release a report on the development of capacity of exporting to China. We will have an assessment and also help the trading partners to improve their capacity of exporting to China to ensure better and targeted matchmaking between supply and demand. Third, we will deepen international interactions. This year, we will invite the United Kingdom, Kazakhstan, Kenya, Thailand as guest countries of honor, and we will work with them in a targeted way. We welcome more countries to take this opportunity to seize the opportunity of exporting to China to make China your best destination of export. On investing in China, This campaign was launched in 2023, and this is the 4th year. It has become a signature campaign for China attracting foreign investment. This year, we will focus on 3 aspects to make it a signature campaign going forward. First, the events will be more targeted. We will focus on the new areas, as Minister Zheng just introduced, that these new areas that are followed by the foreign companies to ensure more targeted matchmaking. Second, the services will be improved. Today we have some good communication service mechanisms at different levels. We need to make good use of these mechanisms to turn the list of demands into a list of services for them. Third, the platforms will be better. We will continue to host the China International Fair of Investment and Trade in Xiamen and improve the building of free trade pilot zones and national level economic development zones. And we welcome more foreign companies to come to China, because next China is still China. China is not only a place where they can earn profit. It is also a gym for foreign companies and a place for trial for foreign companies. Coming to China, we can work together on an equal footing to compete with each other. Apart from that, we have a supersized market, very rich scenarios, so that many foreign companies can innovate and do R&D here in this lab. And promote application of their R&D. They are aligned with each other. These 3 events are aligned with each other, and we will continue to promote the interplay and reinforcement between these campaigns to make them better align with each other, to better tap the potential of the Chinese supersized market and make the huge market of China a global opportunity. Thank you.
请北区第2排第10位女士，谢谢。
谢谢主持人，我是济南日报新黄河客户端记者。我的问题呢，想要提问给财政部的蓝部长。部长你好，党的20届四中全会提出要加强财政科学管理，我想请问部长具体如何理解？今年的财政科学管理将重点推进哪些工作？谢谢。
With Jinan Daily, my question is for Minister Lan. It's highlighted in the 4th plenary session of the 20th Central Committee of the Communist Party of China that we should promote sound fiscal management. My question is, how should we understand this? What are the key tasks for this year with regard to sound fiscal management? Thank you.
谢谢你的提问。
Thank you for this question. As you said, at the 4th plenary session of the 20th CPC Central Committee, to promote sound fiscal management is an important part of the recommendations for the 15th five-year plan. This is an important task that the party's Central Committee assigned to our department. Well, China's economy is now shifting from high-speed growth to high-quality development, and the domestic and international environment is becoming more complex and severe. On one hand, the fiscal revenue faces pressure in pursuing growth. On the other hand, the essential demands in national development and livelihood is mounting. There is a tight balance in the fiscal situation. While the fiscal work concerns organizational revenue, micro-regulation, resource allocation, supervision, and management, so we should better allocate the generation, pooling, and use of funds, and make efforts on optimizing or boosting growth, leveraging existing funds, and optimizing the structures. Promoting sound fiscal management is a realistic demand and also a necessary step to serve China's overall strategy and support China's modernization. And that is why we need to increase our revenue, we need to cut spending, and enhance strengthen management. In this regard, we have made some explorations in 2025 in 12 provinces and 16 central government departments. We launched trial programs, and we have seen positive progress. For example, in some provinces, they have established a performance phase-out mechanism, and they have phased out nearly 1,000 projects and saved nearly 4 billion yuan. Another example, some central government departments took a zero-based budgeting reforms and removed overlapping or duplicative projects, and the spending reduced nearly a half compared with previous year. This year we will work on the following three aspects. First, strengthen coordination of fiscal resources to pool strength for bigger accomplishments. A strong and a solid fiscal foundation is a foundation for national development. We need to take a single approach to all fiscal funds concerning public interest and having public nature into the management of the budget. We should also look at the overall picture, remove the barriers among sectors, industries, and fields to better leverage different capital resources and assets and pool small amount of money to generate bigger amounts. Second, deepen reforms on zero-based budgeting reforms and seek greater efficiency from spending. This is an important part, and in terms of zero-based budgeting reforms, we need to decide the budget because on the basis of the issue itself, the affairs itself, and to remove the dependency on the previous figures and formulate budgets in a scientific way. Especially, we have to reduce inefficient spending, and for those money that can be either used or saved, we will save them, and we should pursue better efficiency to do more bigger things with smaller amount of money. This year, the spending is 30 trillion yuan. If the overall performance is increased by 1%, that we could save 300 billion yuan, which would make a lot of big things. As party and government departments, we will keep belts tight and run on a tight budget, make the most of the money, and to translate that into happier life for the people. This year, the spending on official overseas visits, vehicles, and hospitality reduced by 7%, and spending for meetings and trainings reduced by 10%. And local governments are also tightening their budget, and 20 provinces saved 12 billion yuan, and therefore more money are used for the key areas and killings. Third, we will involve every party to put greater strength and synergy for our work. Scientific management is not only about the financial department. From the central government to local departments, different budget-making departments are all entities of all parties that spend the funds and the government spendings. Therefore, there should be better whole chain management. We need to stick to the law-based philosophy on budget. We should not spend without budget, and we should not overspend. We should safeguard and uphold the legal authority of the National People's Congress, improving the budget. And then we should ensure the supervision on fiscal spending and ensure every penny is used efficiently. We will continue to deepen our scientific fiscal management to ensure the high quality of fiscal affairs to contribute our efforts to the Chinese modernization. Thank you.
好的，谢谢主持人。新京报贝克财经记者提问，我的问题想提给发改委的郑主任。去年“14·5”成就发布会介绍了102项重大工程成就，中国的空间站、大飞机、三北工程等也成为国际社会的热议的中国名片。那我想请问一下郑主任，您怎么看？请问“15”时期还有哪些重大工程项目？后续将怎样推进实施？谢谢。
With the Beijing news, my question is for Chairman Zheng. Last year's press conference on the achievements during the 14th five-year plan period presented the progress of 102 major projects. China's space station, large passenger aircraft, and the National Shelter Belt program in Northwest, North, and Northeast China, among many others, have drawn the attention from the international community and become China's brand names. So my question is, what more major projects will be implemented during the 15th five-year plan period? How will these projects be implemented? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. From the first five-year plan in the 1950s to the just concluded 14th five-year plan, major projects and programs have been implemented one after another, turning the goals we set into reality one by one. The outline of the 15th five-year plan has also proposed 109 major projects and programs. They include both major technology, transportation, and other infrastructure projects, and also livelihood projects bearing on the daily necessities of every one of us. Specifically, these projects fall into 6 categories. 28 are about steering the development of new quality productive forces. 23 are about modernizing the infrastructure system. 9 are about promoting integrated urban-rural development. 25 are about ensuring and improving people's livelihoods. 18 are about promoting green and low-carbon transition. And 6 are about ensuring security in key areas. We believe that the smooth implementation of these major projects and programs will boost the country's overall strength, strengthen the social safety net, and make life better for our people. To sum up, these major projects can be categorized as 3 batches of major projects. First, with the long-term plans in mind, we will implement a batch of projects with strategic importance. For example, we are going to have a number of trillion-yuan energy projects, including the offshore wind farms, to ensure the development of a modern country and a happy life for our people. And we're also going to implement projects to reduce carbon emissions. And these projects are all very important because that concerns both new increments and also resolving existing challenges. And we are also going to have a major transportation corridors. We are going to have the 8 vertical and 8 horizontal railway network and national expressway network. And we also will have major trunk roads in projects in China's border regions, and all of them will support China's development, also make life more convenient for our people, and also enable us to invest in both physical assets and people. For example, we now already have the world's largest high-speed railway network with a total length of over 50,000 kilometers. So China's railway network accounts for over 70% of total mileage of the global railway high-speed railway network. And this railway network can take passengers from the icy northeast to the balmy southern region in a single day. And the slow trains of Daliang Mountain serve as warm-hearted market shuttles for local villagers. And during the Spring Festival travel rush, the green-skinned carriages are packed with people heading home to reunite with their family. So with the choice between faster and slower trains, we have kept our commitment of delivering services to all and leaving no one behind. So whatever the people need, whatever the development need, we will launch projects to meet these needs. Second, with the future development in mind, we will launch a number of pace-setting, future-oriented industrial projects. I said just now that we're going to make plans for a number of new industries and new areas of growth. During the 15th five-year period, we're going to launch a number of major projects, including the computing power network, so that these scientific and technological results can be translated into easy-to-use products and services at a faster pace and make our life more convenient. Minister Wang introduced some new consumption scenarios. So the examples he gave reflect the interplay between innovation and consumption. So we need to speed up efforts to turn new industries and new areas of growth into new productive forces, new growth drivers, and new job opportunities, and strive to become or keep pace with the leaders in more sectors. Third, with the actual household needs in mind, we will implement a number of heartwarming livelihood projects that enhance people's sense of gain. To address livelihood issues that people care most about, we will implement a number of visible and accessible major projects and programs in the areas of education, medical health, elderly and child care, and care for disadvantaged or left-behind children. We will raise the proportion of livelihood-oriented government investment and constantly improve public services to make life more convenient and comfortable for all people and ensure they are better protected in times of emergency or difficulty. We will keep making our efforts and strive for tangible results. The vitality of a plan comes from implementation. During the 15th five-year period, major projects and programs will be advanced in parallel, which will provide robust safeguards for the plan's implementation. We will accelerate construction through a category-based approach, dividing projects into 5 categories, including completed projects, projects set to continue, newly launched projects, projects in preliminary stage, and projects under planning and evaluation, and make sure that these projects and programs are duly delivered to support the realization of the goals and tasks set out in the 5-year plan. Thank you.
请继续提问。这个问题给坐在后面的记者，那位女士，第5排。对，谢谢。
谢谢主持人。上海证券报中国证券网记者提问，我的问题提给吴清主席。资本市场的工作主线就是防风险、强监管、促高质量发展。您也多次强调强本强基、严监严管。面对当前复杂多变的环境，下一步监管部门在推进防风险、强监管方面有哪些重点考虑和打算？谢谢。
With Shanghai Security News, my question is for Chairman Wu. The focus of the work relating to the capital market is to prevent risks, strengthen supervision, and facilitate high-quality development. And you have stressed on many occasions the importance of strengthening the foundation and enforcing strict supervision and management. Given the complexity and volatility at the moment, what are the major considerations and plans for the regulatory body in terms of preventing risks and strengthening supervision? Thank you.
Thank you for your question, which is indeed important. In recent years, in facing intertwined domestic and external risks and new and old challenges, we have implemented the new 9 guidelines, resolutely prevented risks and strengthened the regulation and made some progress. We have prioritized stability under the coordination of the Central Financial Commission offices and the support of the PBOC and relevant agencies. The development of a Chinese system to ensure market stability and inflow of medium and long-term capital into the market have made important breakthroughs. The momentum of market rebound has been consolidated. We have focused on the protection of investors and the quality of listed companies. We have moved faster to build a whole-of-chain regulation system and foster a market ecosystem of orderly entry and exit with the fittest surviving. Since the launch of the new 9 guidelines, the cumulative dividends of listed companies has been 5.23 trillion yuan, a new record high, and 88 companies were delisted. We have strengthened efforts to combat big, severe illegal acts and handled 1,130 law-breaking cases concerning security and futures with a penalty of 30.8 billion yuan. Both set record highs. Of course, unlike the other two numbers. We do not want to see these two numbers setting records again, but once identified, we will investigate and handle these cases in strict accordance with law. With joint efforts, we have consolidated the foundation of market stability, maintained a rigorous stance, and unleashed the vitality for progress. It has been proven that to promote high-quality development on the basis of preventing risks and strengthening regulation is completely correct. Without orderly and effective risk prevention and regulation, there will not be a stable and healthy market operation that we have now. In the new year, we will continue to prevent risk, strengthen regulation, and promote high-quality development, better coordinate development and security, act in strict accordance with law, consolidate the foundation, and boost investors and market participants' trust and confidence. We will work on 5 fronts. First, we will build a breakwater to prevent risks of the capital market. We will take a multi-pronged approach to monitor market risks, prevent cross-market, cross-border, and cross-sector transmission of risks, consolidate and strengthen strategic reserve and institutional building of market stability. We will build up a long-term and mid-term inflow of capital mechanism, strengthen the dynamic adjustment policy toolkit, and we will make good use of these tools and make sure they are ready when we need them. And we will ensure stable market operation. We will prevent and defuse risks in areas like private fund and bond, and increase our capacity in risk prevention, warning, and mitigation. Second, we will consolidate and enhance the efficacy of financial fraud punishment and prevention. Financial fraud is like a tumor to the capital market. With support from different sides, last year we have put in place a comprehensive prevention and punishment system. 16 listed companies were delisted because of severe financial fraud. The number is higher, much higher than the previous years. In previous years, the number is usually single digit. Sometimes it's 0. Last year, it was 16. And we will continue to ensure rule enforcement, take various measures to increase the efficacy. On the one hand, we will strengthen prevention. We will roll out regulations on supervision of listed companies and implement the revised guidelines on corporate governance. Enhance the supervision of sponsor representatives and build a clue searching center and monitoring warning mechanism for third-party collaboration in fraud. On the other hand, we will strengthen deterrence. We will step up efforts to investigate and punish financial fraud of listed companies and third-party collaboration. We will strictly implement the requirements that companies with fraud must be delisted to remove the bad apples and break the ecosystem for fraud. Third, we will guide industrial institutions to focus on their main businesses and regulated development. For securities companies, we will revise and adopt dedicated regulations, support head institutions to grow and smaller ones to seek differentiated development, and encourage them to improve governance, strengthen internal control, and seek asymmetric development. For public fund, we will deepen its reform and guide them to keep to long-term and professional development. The funds must be public, and investment of the interest of investors must be put front and center. For private fund, we will improve the 1+N+X mechanism, improve the mechanisms relating entry, fundraising, custody, and information disclosure, crack down on illegal fundraising, misappropriation, self-financing, self-use, and benefits transfer, so that the sector will develop in a rules-based manner. Of course, we will strengthen regulation on new type of businesses. The general consideration is to seek benefit and avoid harm, promote orderly development, conduct effective supervision, and prevent risks. We will highlight equity and equality, deepen, refine, and increase the frequency of regulation, adopt regulations for the trade of derivatives, support legal risks management, restrict over-speculation in accordance with law, and strengthen The tokenization regulation of RWA ensures strict ban domestically and strict control overseas. We will develop the crypto asset supervision system planning and crack down on illegal speculation and financing under the pretext of RWA. Fifth, we will foster a safety net to protect the lawful rights and interests of investors. We will facilitate unimpeded remedy channel for investors to safeguard their rights, diversify dispute settlement approaches, promote the enforcement of more representative action, advanced compensation, and other typical civil compensation cases. We will regulate the behaviors of listed companies and their main shareholders, PSCs, and intermediary agencies, strictly investigate and severely punish cloud chasing, concept hyping, manipulation, and other behaviors that will hurt investors' interests, so that the market can truly feel equity and justice, and different market participants will stay committed to law and credibility. Thank you.
谢谢，请大家继续提问。第一排第3位女士，谢谢。
谢谢浙江日报潮新闻记者郑主任你好，我想分享一下我的感受啊。我之前总担心呢，父母年纪大了，做饭不方便，也吃不好。过年时候回家的时候，发现楼下的社区食堂，它其实是方便实惠又健康的，而且我又发现了旁边还有托儿所啊、健身房啊、社区医院、老年大学，这些其实都是非常受欢迎。但是我也观察到，目前的这些服务其实它的覆盖面是有限的。所以我想请问，就是我们的15、17怎么去推广这些民生服务？谢谢。
With Zhejiang Daily, my question is for Chairman Zheng. I used to worry that for my aging parents, it would not be very easy to prepare tasty meals from themselves. So during the Spring Festival holiday, when I returned home, I found a community canteen just around the corner, which offered healthy food at reasonable prices. And near that canteen, there were also a nursery, a gym, a community hospital, and a university for the elderly. And all these facilities were very popular. But I also noticed that the coverage of these services are still limited. So my question is, during the 15th five-year plan period, how to promote these services to boost people's well-being? Thank you.
谢谢。
Thank you for the question. I remember last year it was also you that asked me a question about livelihood. And on this very occasion, indeed, the question you raised is something that everybody is talking about, and it's also on everybody's mind. In this year's New Year message, General Secretary Xi once said that when the happy hum of daily life fills every home, the big family of our nation will go from strength to strength. So, as far as the NDRC is concerned, we will do our utmost to deliver livelihood services that meet people's expectations. The priority is to take good care of 2 groups of people and deliver 3 types of services. The 2 groups refer to the elderly and children, especially what we call elderly seniors and young children. For senior citizens with high demand for elderly care services, such as those with advanced age, physically dependent, or cognitively impaired, we will provide more professional and convenient elderly care services tailored to their needs. For example, to meet the demand for nursing care services of physically dependent or cognitively impaired elderly, we will support the equipment renewal in elderly care institutions and work for the goal of raising the proportion of nursing care beds to over 73%. There's high demand in the society for this kind of service. And another example is that to meet the demand for home-based elderly care services, we will fill the gap of elderly care service facilities in old residential communities, promote community services of catering, medical, and emergency assistance, and endeavor to raise the community coverage of elderly care service institutions and facilities to over 70%. And there is another thing we're working on this year, that is to install elevators in old residential communities, and this initiative has been included into the equipment upgrade program. For infants and toddlers, we will provide more close-to-home, affordable, and quality childcare services for families with young children. On the one hand, we will support every municipality in building at least one comprehensive childcare service center, which will provide functions such as service hub, personnel training, standard setting, and family guidance, so as to set benchmarks for the industry. On the other hand, we will support various localities in developing integrated nursery and kindergarten services and employer-sponsored childcare programs, so as to build a tightly knit network of services that are within easy reach. The three services include medical service, education, and employment. In terms of medical service, we will try to deliver more high-quality services that are close at hand for the people. On medical consultation and treatment, we will implement initiatives to strengthen community-level medical and health services so that the treatment of common diseases, management of chronic diseases, and daily health maintenance services can be processed more at the community level. On rehabilitation, we will carry out the initiative for expanding and improving rehabilitation care services, with top-tier hospitals providing guidance and support, mid-level hospitals playing the primary role, community-level medical and health institutions providing underpinning, and hospitals specialized in rehabilitation care services jointly participating in order to deliver high-quality rehabilitation care services to more people. On education, as I just said, we're going to reach a peak of students in different education stages. So that puts a lot of pressure on us to better allocate available resources. So we will implement targeted measures for different educational stages. For compulsory education, we will focus on balanced education by implementing the project of standardized school development in urban and rural areas. For regular high schools, we will focus on expanding supply by building, expanding, and renovating 1,000 regular high schools, adding more than 2 million new opportunities. For higher education, we'll focus on upgrading quality and support world-class universities and academic disciplines in expanding enrollment of undergraduate program by over 2 million. For vocational education, we'll focus on developing their special features. We'll build high-standard industry education practical training bases to equip graduates with the skills needed by the market. On employment, we will continue to put equal emphasis on job expansion and guarantee. On the one hand, we will try all possible means to increase job opportunities. And the manufacturing sector is going to increase by 14 trillion yuan in the coming 5 years, which will generate more than 10 million new jobs each year. And we also pay attention to the impact of AI on jobs, especially repetitive and hard manual work, such as the impact of AI on these sectors is becoming more and more visible. And we'll also take multiple measures to strengthen job guarantee. For example, we'll support the destinations of population migration in promoting the coverage of 81 basic public services for all permanent residents, so as to reduce the worries of new urban residents. We'll also increase the social insurance participation of people with flexible jobs, migrant workers, and workers in new forms of employment. Also for the purpose of reducing the worries of people like delivery workers. Thank you.
谢谢，请大家继续提问。请第一排这位男士提问。
Thank you. Market News International. A question for Governor Pan and the People's Bank of China. What are the key priorities for the PBOC in advancing the opening up of the financial sector? And what specific measures will be taken this year to further promote the opening up of the financial sector? And what progress was made last year? Thank you.
美国国际市场新闻社，我的问题提给潘行长和人民银行。当前，人民银行在推进金融业对外开放方面重点工作有哪些？今年将采取哪些具体举措，进一步推动金融业对外开放？ 去年在这一领域取得了哪些进展？谢谢。
好，谢谢你的问题。
Thank you for your question.
金融业的开放呢，
The opening up of the financial sector is an important part of China's overall reform and opening up.
1年来，
Over the past year, we have actively advanced the opening up of the financial sector, coordinated opening up and security, and deepened participation in global financial governance and made positive progress, which can be seen in the following aspects. First, financial opening up has been steadily enhanced. The PBOC has worked with financial regulators to optimize the pre-establishment national treatment plus an active list system in the financial sector. We have supported qualified foreign financial institutions in participating in financial pilot programs. And we have designated several foreign banks as RMB clearing banks. We have deepened financial market connectivity and facilitated more investors to invest in China's financial market. By the end of last year, the domestic RMB financial assets held by overseas entities and individuals, including securities, bonds, savings, and loans, was over 10 trillion yuan. In 2025, multiple governments, international development institutions, financial institutions, and large companies issued over 170 billion yuan of panda bonds, whose total size grew by 34%. Now, the panda bonds in China's mainland and typical Chinese bonds overseas, the market has been very dynamic. There have been some reports by Bloomberg and South China Morning Post. Second, we have advanced the internationalization of RMB to provide more diversified monetary choice for entities at home and abroad. We have improved the institutional arrangements for cross-border use of RMB and financial infrastructure, gradually expanded bilateral local currency swap, and supported the use of the money in cross-border trade, investment, and financing. We have promoted the development of offshore RMB markets, increasing the demand for RMB. On a comparable basis, RMB has become China's largest settling currency in foreign exchange receipts and payments, the world's second largest financing currency, and third largest payment currency. Its weight in the IMF SDR currency basket ranked the third, which is provide facilitation for cross-border trade and investment and will help to bring down exchange rate risks and costs. Third, we have steadily carried out international cooperation and participated in international financial governance. We have strengthened the communication and coordination with financial agencies of major economies and led efforts to establish China-EU, China-UK, and China-Canada Financial Working Group, facilitated the establishment of the China-EU Central Bank Governor Annual Meeting Mechanism, and we've opened new prospects in financial cooperation with Global South countries, strengthened practical cooperation with Brazil, Indonesia, the UAE, Egypt, and South Africa. We have supported the launch of the IMF Shanghai Center and facilitated macroeconomic policy coordination and communication between Asia-Pacific countries. Moving forward, the PBOC will continue to steadily advance high-standard financial opening up, service China's high-quality economic development, and build a fairer and more just, inclusive, and resilient global financial governance system. First, we will promote the high-standard opening up of financial services and financial market. We'll keep to the principle of market-oriented, law-based, and internationalized, make financial opening up policies more transparent, stable, and predictable. We'll continue to increase the connectivity of domestic and foreign financial markets and the cross-border synergy of payment systems to make it more convenient for foreign investors. We will advance RMB internationalization in an orderly way and develop offshore RMB markets. We will support the development of Shanghai as an international financial center and enhance the role of Hong Kong as an international financial center. Second, we will firmly implement the global governance initiative put forward by General Secretary Xi Jinping and actively participate in the reform of the global financial governance. Last year, on this topic, in June at the Lujiazui Forum, I expounded on this topic, which includes that we will strengthen international macro policy communication, promote the multipolar development of the international monetary system, build a safer, more efficient and diversified cross-border payment system, foster diversified and efficient global financial safety net, and better ensure global financial governance and improve the international financial organization governance to increase the voice and representation of emerging markets and developing countries. Given the current geopolitical context, we are still faced with many challenges in carrying out this work. But geopolitical changes have also created new momentum for reforming global financial systems. There is a stronger call internationally for global financial reform. Third, we will enhance the capacity building of supervision in line with high standard opening up and strengthen financial risk prevention as we open up wider and safeguard national financial security. Thank you. Friends from the media, in the interest of time, this concludes our press conference on economy. Thank you.
In the interest of time, today's press conference ends now. Thank you for your participation. Thank you.
Well, as we saw right there, key ministers from departments relevant to China's economic developments have taken questions from journalists. And now let's hear some expert analysis. I'm pleased to be joined here in the studio by Fu Jun, Professor of Political Economy at Peking University, and Lin Che Fellow. Great to have you with us on our program, Professor. So
happy to be here.
You were here sitting with me watching this live coverage of the press conference. What is your major takeaway from all this information, the vast amount of figures as delivered by those ministers?
First, I'm very impressed by the way they organize different ministries to appear for this press conference. And the way I see it, I sort of see an orchestra. And the conductor is NDRC, National Development Reform Commission. So it's sort of an extension of our state council. It's the central government, then you have different ministries. And for a foreign audience, if you look at the name very carefully, it can tell you so much. So far, Chinese government continue sort of to play, see itself as to have to play the role of developmental, because China is an economy that is in the business of catching up. If you look at the GDP per capita, we still have a long way to go. Then we need to reform, so developmental reform. And the way I see reform is a market-oriented reforms, because to start with the 40 or so years ago, I was a central planning system. So by default, it's market-oriented, integrate ourselves with the global economy. And you have a commission. Commission means you have different representations of different parts of the world. And if you look at today's press conference, and it's very telling to me, then you are looking at sort of the voices or thinking on behalf of the state and the market and the community. The state, you're looking at the Ministry of Finance. Now, this is the word we use. If in the US, it's the treasury, okay, the fiscal money. So it's the state. So you have that ministry. And you also have someone for the market of commerce. Commerce takes place in the marketplace. You have the two, right? So and in between, you have the central bank, right? Central bank is the banker of bankers, the last resort. Then you have commercial banking. And well, to finance whatever projects you to create wealth, then you have to think of financing. Then you have a government organization that regulates the difference between direct financing. It's the commercial bank. Then the stock market, banking is indirect. then stock market is direct.
Securities
and what's the
regulation.
mix of that?
Right.
So if you have that structure and you see the news that's coming out, and relatively probably it helps for you to organize the information we receive. So this is what I see from this press conference.
The lineup of these ministers
Yes.
and the composition is
I
pretty
guess
telling
later on
of the
they will
structure.
have more ministries,
Right.
probably more on the side of social inclusion.
Sure. Before I get more insights from you, Professor, let's hear this. The chairman of China's National Development and Reform Commission, Zheng Shanjie, says the country's GDP is expected to expand by more than 6 trillion yuan this year. He adds that this growth will provide solid support for employment, people's livelihoods, and risk prevention.
预计今年如果按照正常的情况顺利的话，
It is expected that China's GDP increment will surpass 6 trillion yuan, which is equivalent to the annual GDP of a medium-sized developed country. And that will also provide effective underpinning for us to stabilize growth, secure jobs, and cope with risks. Market economy fundamentally is an economy under the rule of law. So we need to better regulate or mark the boundaries of the market and the government through sound legal systems.
So, Professor, China has set its growth target for 2026 at 4.5 to 5%. And if we look at that, if I remember it correctly, I think this is the third time that China is setting a range instead of one single digit target. How do you read into this? I mean, if you look at the percentage, it may not be too much, but if you look at the size of the economy, that growth represents $870 billion. That's 6 trillion yuan.
Well, I'm a professor. The way I look at neoclassic economics and the concept they use is equilibrium. I think equilibrium is a wrong concept. A better concept, if you look at life systems, is a homeostasis. You always have wiggling rooms for life. Our life, the temperature, 40 degrees within that range, you can survive. So a more scientific, realistic concept is a homeostasis rather than equilibrium. So to have a range is more realistic than just the one target, because realistically, you cannot be that precise. So in that way, I would think, okay, they are more realistic, they are more scientific in that way. And I think it's good to have that. And even though the number goes down, it's very healthy in the way. Okay, Chinese economy, if you look at the aggregate size of the economy, it's big. So even with the going down of the economy in absolute amount, it continues to grow. So personally, even lower than that number, I would thought it's still okay. So the key is we need to have a better balance between intensive growth and extensive growth for quality growth. And I guess by and large, Chinese economy is moving in that direction, probably under both domestic and international pressure. So we need to make a heck of an adjustment to the new environment we are in.
So some facts here, China is the second largest economy in the world and the second largest consumption market in the world. And the ministers kept talking about the supersized economy. How do you read into the pillars that will support China's economic growth going forward, not just only for 2026, but also for the next 5 years going forward?
Well, the two big pillars that I see is, 10 years ago, the Chinese economy was the one that was there to support the global economy. If you look at the supply side economy and the demand side economy, the supply side, China was the global center of manufacturing. And the demand side, not just domestic, global. Now, with the geopolitical concerns, geo-economic concerns, in a way, it's not a surprise that the demand on the international side will shrink a little bit. So China need to strike a balance between supply side economy and demand side domestically. So this is so important for China to move in the right direction, but you should not rush it, but you move it, pace yourself well, so that you strike a balance domestically between demand side economy and the supply side economy. And for what I hear from the press conference, I do see that China is moving in that direction and is working very hard in that direction, even though the words and the phrases they use may be different. But at the end of the day, what counts is you get the direction correct and you get the structure correct.
The geopolitical uncertainties you mentioned is one of the reasons that China is looking inward to expand its domestic consumption. And without those pressures from outside, ministers were also telling us to pay attention to the word resilience. What's your take of it?
If you look at the Chinese trade picture, the trade indeed was too high in the past. For the major economy, probably it's healthy to have a trade share of your GDP below 20%, okay? China is still very high. But when the global economy goes down, China as a big country, a responsible power, should not sort of engage in the policy of backdive neighbors. We should say, well, we are very serious about our domestic market, which by itself is huge. And we should absorb more imports, not just in the exports, so that the global economy continue to grow. And we being part of the global economy, if the global economy grow, and it's a win-win scenario for both sides. And that, I think, is the right way to do. So to open our markets to international imports is good for us. It's also for the global economy.
Now, what criteria do you think will define high quality opening up and high quality reform as outlined in the 15th five-year plan?
Basically, if you look at all economies, you look at human history, the growth mode in the past was extensive, low quality. Intensive means high quality. So as your economy move from agriculture, industrialized economy, post-industrialized economy, basically you're moving from extensive mode of growth into intensive growth. Intensive means it's more knowledge intensive, wisdom based, whereas industrialization, you see it's machine based, okay? Agriculture economy, we count on nature. It's the transformation of the sun through crops, right? We do a little bit of organization. So this is probably the process that many countries have to go through. But some probably can leapfrog a little bit. But basically that's the process that all human society need to learn, because that has something with the brain that we have. Our brain need to learn. Learning takes time, and the knowledge accumulation takes time. And here, probably there will be an exogenous shocks to many economies. Probably we are not ready all, because AI is coming. And there you have the principle. If we continue to see ourselves as a principal, AI is the agent. How do you combine the two, principal agent, to move forward, to continue to push the new frontier of knowledge? Then you open up more possibilities for further growth. And there, all countries do not have the final say. They continue to explore. And China, in that area, tend to be well positioned to move into that area as well. China probably is next to the US in terms of AI development. And China has invested, the government, the state has invested in the number of areas that is so key to AI development, especially in terms of the infrastructure to support AI.
Now, of course, AI is one of the emerging industries, as we heard just now from that press conference. Now let's hear this professor. China's AI Plus plan aims to integrate artificial intelligence into all economic and social sectors by 2035. 6 key initiatives were rolled out last year, with the science and technology industry leading the innovation. My colleague Suri Manikam looks at the significant achievements made so far.
The directive is huge. It is China's most comprehensive blueprint to implement AI domestically and make a mark on the international stage. China has set 3 key milestones. The one to note is 2035, when China will become a fully AI-powered economy. Now, how does China plan to do this? 6 key initiatives have already been rolled out. First, the AI Plus Science and Technology Drive. Large scientific models are used to boost interdisciplinary innovation. China has become the world's top holder of AI patents, accounting for 60% of the global share. Second, the AI Plus Industrial Development Initiative. This integrates AI into traditional industries to create new quality productive forces. As of July 2025, China has released over 1,500 large models, again topping the global chart. Third, the AI Plus Consumer Quality Upgrade. This plan enhances consumer experiences by incorporating AI at the core of product development, services, and operations. China is the world's largest online retail market for 13 consecutive years. Fourth, the AI Plus People's Wellbeing. Here, AI is integrated into various sectors like education, healthcare, government services, and ecological protection to improve people's well-being. For instance, personalized support and early detection of health issues. Today, China's achieved a breakthrough in invasive brain-computer interface technology. Fifth, the AI Plus Governance Capacity. AI manages existing government structures while ensuring they remain ethical and transparent. Key achievements include automated government websites and intelligent approval processes like real-time alerts for ecological zones. Lastly, the AI Plus Global Cooperation. International efforts aligned with AI regulations to manage risks and promote beneficial applications. China's Masu AI-empowered early warning system stands as a flagship for its global climate cooperation. To sum it all up, China's approach to AI is characterized by a state-driven application-first model. In comparison, the United States and Europe focus on market-driven innovation. Whatever the approach, one fact is undeniable. China is narrowing the gap quickly by focusing on rapid practical deployment. The future is here.
Also, Professor, artificial intelligence, quantum technology, and this brain-computer interface are some of the emerging sectors that we hear from that press conference. But also, the minister said that they're trying to make these emerging industries into the pillar industries of China's economic development in the future. Tell us your thoughts on this. What will be the prerequisites to advance these modern technologies?
Well, you have to look at the 3 areas. One is data, sort of all the bits you have for representing what you have learned, the knowledge storage. Then you have to have a computing power, okay? Empowering that is energy. It will take a lot of energy. And the third way is the way you organize the information, a logarithm, sort of. And so far, AI is a classical-based, inductive. It cannot do quantum. And the amazing thing about our human brain is that ours is a quantum computing machine. And on Earth, so far, our human brain is the most efficient computing machine. It takes a little bit of energy. Every second, we make a lot of decisions. Some are conscious, some are subconscious. And if you sort of can combine the classical computing with the quantum computing, you achieve 2 things. One is efficiency. The other is the power you process information. Now, this is sort of the vision that we are seeing. And to have an interface between human brain, which is a biological, okay, psychological, biological, logical, with the power of the computer, you sort of see the two things moving up, dancing together and moving forward. And this is sort of the vision that you see. We continue to push the frontier of human knowledge. And this is the ultimate source of growth. And China seems to me is doing well in these fronts, partly because, partly due to the opening up process. Chinese students are learning globally, and partly because we, as our educational system is very much keen on producing engineers. And for the moment, to producing engineers that sit ourselves well with the development of AI. Then the other thing that I'm not clear is that, well, I heard about the social inclusion, creating jobs. Now, the previous industrialization, we tend to build axiomatic evolution means we build machines outside of human body. The previous industrialization, we build extensions, our arms, our legs, and those are the physical extension. AI is different because it's tend to build an extension of a human brain. So the ultimate concern you have is, will we remain principal and the AI is an agent? If you flip that order, AI become a principal and we become a slave, this is very dangerous. So for all countries to move AI, here you're talking about the moral and ethic issues. We should do everything to make sure humans are still the principal. AI is just an agent to help us. Otherwise, human civilization, personally, I think, will be in danger because we are talking about civilization. And the humans are not tools, others are tools. And we humans should be there also to be environmentally sensitive. Because we are the center, we should not do everything to damage the nature, the environment. So we need to be so sensitive as we move forward to be environmental friendly. And here is a big issue. All countries should be concerned. It's called environmental sustainability. And I guess the MPC, as we watch, probably they will address those issues, environmental sustainability. So at the end of the day, as a country, we should concern about what I would say, economic efficiency. And then social inclusion. Everyone is included. We are in the same boat, both domestic and globally. And ultimately, we need to be concerned about environmental sustainability as we move forward with these concerns. And I hope we'll continue to move forward and continue to grow the domestic economy as well as the global economy.
You're a man of science and you think in mathematical terms, but I also want to get your insights on policy coordination among these government departments because voices are being heard from the grassroots level. And then policies are implemented top down. So how can we make sure that the government's departments and the different levels of government departments could really coordinate their policies to make the implementation process more efficient and effective?
If you look at the government is hierarchical, okay? Then you have jurisdictions, both in legal terms as well as geographical terms. And the reality is that Chinese economy is not a city economy. It's a continental economy. And we can lump the economy together and say Chinese economy, but this is not the correct way, okay? If you look at the Chinese economy, look at the northern part of China and the southern part of China, you know it's different, okay? Cultural-wise, my observation is that, probably I'm wrong, you correct me, the northern part is more state-oriented, probably for historical reasons, I don't know. The southern part of China, historically, the emperor was far away, let's do our own business. So culturally, the southern part of China is more market-oriented. Right. And then, all else be equal, you see, more wealth is being produced in the southern part of China because it's more market-oriented. But as a a state or the government, you need to do some redistribution, okay, sensitive to your own culture, so that you can hold the country together. And there you are talking about coordination, because at the bottom is different, right? Then you need to coordinate. And overall, you sort of see the balancing between coastal areas, the interior parts, northern part, the southern parts, the private sector, the non-state sector. And it's like a great conductor doing an orchestra. Yeah. You need to give a crescendo to some areas, give diminuendo to other areas, and when you have gone too far, they come back, recapitulation. So for the economy to move forward, to me, you can use the analogy of a great orchestra, and it takes a very sophisticated conductor to do that. And that's the role of a government. And by the way, there I do not see China is so unique, so different from the rest of the world. Even Adam Smith said the government need to play the role of securities, social justice, public works. Public work means the works that the market won't do. Then the state have to step in to do that job. But of course, countries will be there. They will have different intensities. And well, diversity is good in a way for the global economy to move forward.
All right. Professor Fu, thank you so much for sharing with us your insights on the economic matter for China's development going down for the next year and the next 5 years.
Thank you.
And that's going to do it for our special coverage of the ongoing National People's Congress. I'm Wang Wentao. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for other programs on CGTN.